Up everyone, and welcome to the WAN Show. We have a fantastic show lined up for you guys today. What is up with game mods getting DRM? Okay, we're going to be talking about that. The Starfield DLSS 3 mod has reignited controversy over paid mods. Also, Mozilla has found that cars are a privacy nightmare, watching you sleep and not sleep, as it were. What else we got?
The Nintendo Switch 2, or whatever it might be named, has been demoed behind closed doors. And we'll talk about what we would want from it later on in the show.
Nobody knows anything, but I know what I want to see.
Yeah. And Rockstar, they just use pirated copies of their own games to sell.
Yeah.
What a hack.
Right?
What a cheat code.
Can you steal pirated code? I think so.
I think so.
I think there are guidelines about that.
Yeah.
That's a dated reference.
I liked it.
The show is brought to you today by The Ridge, Secretlab, and wow, those go really fast. Redmagic. Thank you, Dan. Why don't we jump right into our headline topic today?
Paid mods.
Starfield's DLSS 3 mod has reignited controversy over paid mods. Modder Pure Dark released a DLSS 2/XeSS mod for Starfield for free on Nexus Mods, which is really great, by the way, because the fact that the game did not support DLSS out of the box, as Luke and I observed when we did our early access playtime with it, that unfortunately is not going to be a YouTube video, but will be available on Floatplane. I can talk a little bit more about that later, but it's not coming to YouTube ultimately. But we definitely noticed that it would have been nice to have DLSS. But here's the thing. In addition to the free mod on Nexus Mods, they also posted an early build of the same mod that included DLSS 3, including NVIDIA's frame generation feature that is only supported on RTX 4000 series cards. And they released this on their Patreon page, requiring a $5 monthly sub to access it. Users reported that a single payment, though, so subscribing for just 1 month, appears to unlock the mod perpetually, which honestly, I'm okay with. Like, if you have a subscription, but people are allowed to have all you can eat while they have the subscription. I mean, it's basically the same way that we did all of the behind-the-scenes content from LTX.
Yeah.
You upgrade your subscription to enjoy the LTX content. If you still like having 4K on Floatplane, then great, you can keep it. And otherwise, well, you watched it and you can download it even. Like, Floatplane doesn't have DRM, actually, but this mod does. Users reported that the mod requires a login to authenticate that you have paid for it before it will work. Pure Dark also added the same digital rights management to their DLSS 3 mod for Red Dead Redemption 2. This is in bold.
I wonder if that means that it's an always online thing.
No, I don't think so, because I think it's just an unlocker thing.
It authenticates once, you get a check mark, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, like WinRAR style. DRM, though, and this is in bold in our notes, is virtually unheard of for mods, but it seems to have worked in Pure Dark's favor. By some accounts, they appear to have made over $40,000 this month, which is, last time I checked, a flipping lot of money.
Yeah.
Which goes to show you how much gamers value having access to these features and how baffling it is that Bethesda... there's been some kind of tinfoil hat conspiracy theory stuff that AMD might have put pressure on Bethesda to not have it, but then AMD said they were super chill with it having DLSS, but then
Bethesda's basically like refused to comment on it, really.
It didn't have it, and now a single modder in like 8 days.
I'm pretty sure this was out before the game was out.
Well, no, I'm doing the math from early access.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah. In 8 or 9 days or whatever it works out to, has managed to hack it into the game. Obviously, QC takes time. In some cases, QC can take more time than the actual development, but it's pretty clear to me that this is something that if they'd had the will, they could have done it. I do wonder if it's not contractual, but if it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
A little under the table.
Yeah, right? Like, hey,
so I just checked. The original mod, the free mod on Nexus Mods, was uploaded on September 1st.
Wow. Now, unsurprisingly, you gotta love modders and game crackers and hackers and whatnot. Yeah. The mod's DRM was cracked and pirated in a matter of days, and a free alternative was uploaded to Nexus Mods by Luke FZ, relation of yours?
Not my alias.
Which ignited a debate over Pure Dark's approach. But why? This is cool. So we had the news team reach out to a developer who explained that there are essentially two main ways in which the mod community views itself, coined by legendary Morrowind modder Rye. The cathedral view and the parlor view are sort of diametrically opposed, sort of incompatible with each other in a sense. The cathedral view sees modders participating in a joint effort to build something amazing. So to those folks, the idea of locking a single stained glass window behind a paywall seems ridiculous and counterproductive.
I haven't asked them if they see themselves this way, but I would look at like the Skyblivion project in that light. It's a huge team of modders.
Enormous undertaking.
Collaboratively working on something for years to make this incredible project.
Look into it.
It's actually stunning.
Basically, they take the whole Oblivion game and just into the Skyrim engine.
But then with like amazing assets to it and everything. Like it's I'm going to be so stoked when that comes out. Anyways.
Like it is not just Oblivion, but prettier. It is basically rebuild.
Yeah.
So cool.
And it looks a lot better than like Skyrim did at launch. It looks like heavily modded, like beautiful perfection Skyrim, but it's Oblivion. Like it's incredible. It's fantastic.
On the other side of things, the parlor view sees individual mods as art pieces that are displayed in the modder's parlor, and the modder can choose to close the parlor doors anytime they choose. In addition to modders of the Cathedral School here, much of the backlash to the mod's paywall plus DRM seems to be coming from young gamers with little or no disposable income. Riley's note here is who seemingly possess RTX 40 series cards and a $70 game. See, I actually am very strongly in Riley's camp here. I think that a lot of the outrage over $5 items is probably manufactured as opposed to, or I think people have at least a feeling of being principled on it. Like, I don't think it's about the money, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The debate over paid mods is nothing new. In 2015, Steam added, then removed paid mod functionality from the Steam Workshop. In 2017, Bethesda launched the Creation Club, a service hosting user-generated content that Bethesda explicitly described as not paid mods, since existing mods were not allowed. Only new content that was developed with Bethesda's approval was allowed. But many other user-generated content marketplaces do exist, like Minecraft Marketplace, or, I mean, the entire game of Roblox. That's the point of Roblox. So I guess at risk of us angering 50% of the internet, no matter which stance we take here.
Yeah.
What's your take on this?
I don't know. I think it's complicated.
Well, yeah, it's definitely complicated. Thank you for that.
I very much
Professor Obvious.
I
Lafreniere.
like the approach that a group like Skyblivion takes.
Sure, but can you demand that?
I don't think so. I think if someone wants to do a whole bunch of work and they want to get paid for their work, it is their right to put their work up for sale, effectively. But I just, I don't know.
Why do I even read Twitch chat? Linus, you're disregarding the precedent this might set. I haven't taken a stance.
It could. That's I think one of my biggest concerns.
Sure.
Is that it could really change the community very heavily.
Now tell me this. Let's take a big picture sort of 10-year outlook approach here. Do you think that in the grand scheme of things, it will ultimately be a net benefit to the modding community in terms of, and I don't mean a net benefit in terms of money, because obviously if they make money, that is a net benefit. I mean in terms of the quality and the diversity of the mods that gamers get to enjoy. Do you think it will be a net benefit to modding?
I honestly think it would be a negative.
Okay, but I haven't even finished asking the question. I know that you and I mind meld, but I do need to ask the question for their benefit.
All right.
Okay, is it a net benefit to have this source of income going into the modding community in general that either doesn't exist or exists only in certain marketplaces like Roblox, for example, where it's very prevalent? Or is it a net negative outcome that, and now that he's taken some of the wind out of my sails, I'm going to take some of the wind out of his, that could actually hurt the passionate roots of modding in general, in the first place, and take some of the just because I can spirit out of it and potentially hurt modding.
Yeah, so that's everything I was going to say.
Got him.
I don't know. It's like, if someone wants to work on something, they completely deserve the right to be able to sell it. But I do think that some other things come into question at that point, because if you are doing this for profit, here's going to be a hyper controversial take that people are not going to like. Why shouldn't Bethesda get some of that money?
Ooh, see,
especially
you know what?
When
okay, look at my screen. Look at what I put in Notepad. I wrote down deserve to sell it because he did say that. They are relying on somebody else's IP, someone else's blood, sweat, and tears. I don't know. Someone else's blood, sweat, and tears
in there somewhere
to provide a platform for them to sell their service. If
Not only that, but what isn't out right now but will be coming is the Creation Kit, which is a series of modding tools. If you look at something like game engines, if you make a game using a game engine that is free, they will then take money from the sales of your game.
Yes.
This is a very normal thing. So if people are going to stand and say that they want to sell mods, which again, if they want to, I think they should be able to. If they're going to use tools like the Creation Kit or potentially even if they're just going to mod the game at all, does it make sense at that point for the company that released the game to make some of the money from it? I think maybe. And I think one of the beautiful parts of the modding community, and something that I've really enjoyed about it, and before people jump on me, I am a Nexus Mods subscriber, and I have donated to multiple modding projects because I have thought it's decently important in the past, because I am gaining a massive amount of enjoyment from these mods. There's games that I will play with mods on them that I would not play without it. So, like, at that point in time...
Okay, now that's where we get into a really interesting counterpoint here, because... you just said modders should be giving Bethesda a cut of their revenues. But then you also just said there's games that I wouldn't play, and I think for a lot of gamers, never mind wouldn't buy in the first place if it wasn't for the rich, vibrant modding communities that are around them. So
yeah, it's interesting.
Who should be paying who? Or is this just a purely symbiotic relationship where both parties should tolerate or even respect each other and try to cooperate? But then, if someone in bad faith creates a mod that damages the brand of the company that created the original game... Which has happened, I mean, Rule 34.
A number of times. Well, no, with Bethesda, actually, I think it was Oblivion, modders found that you could take the underwear...
Is this going to be at...
You could take the underwear model, you could take the underwear texture off of the character models, and when you did that, there was graphical things under them. And they were like, whoa, what the heck? This is already in the game. And then that reached out to, I believe, ESRB, and they wanted to change the rating on the game, and like all these things happened. Yeah. So this has happened to literally Bethesda. And okay, so I'm seeing some people in chat being like, no, Jaden actually brings up a really good point. I think you don't have to pay a car manufacturer if you mod your car. I think my point here would be the tools that are being released by these companies in order to allow people to mod it. I think most games, a lot of games have modding happen to them that don't try to make that happen, if you know what I mean.
Whereas I think if a car manufacturer were to provide a tuning shop with resources that enable them to tune the cars better, I think that that's something that they could reasonably charge for.
I think it would be, I guess what I would say is I don't think this should be like a requirement, but I think at that point that should also be seen as a reasonable approach. And another game could take an approach of going, look, we're going to provide these modding tools and not charge for them to try to be the more hyper mod friendly game. But I think the anger that would traditionally go towards a game developer for trying to skim some mod money, if we're also cool with modders charging for it, I think both of those things should probably be okay.
Right.
But if the mods are free traditionally, and then the game company is like, hey, we're going to skim some money and you have to pay for these now, that's a little weird. And same
then they're
vice
imposing
versa,
their
I think.
will,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. That's where I think I'm at. I'm
now,
not really sure.
Now, back to that point that was, basically think about the precedent this sets. Let's talk about that for a little bit. If you run a modded game, maybe this deserves a poll. I think this deserves a poll.
Sure.
Do you want to set up the poll?
Yeah.
Okay. If you run a modded game, I would posit, I would guess that you probably don't run one mod. So let's I'm only really speaking to the people who like to mod games here. So if you don't mod any games and the answer is 0, you don't need to participate in the poll. Let's say 1 to 2, 3 to 5, 6 to 10 or 10 or 11 plus or something like that. How many mods would you expect to be running on a game that you like to play? Because there's everything from texture packs to, face replacements to, sound effect basically the sky is the limit when it comes to modding. New gameplay modes, different difficulties, you can add new spells.
So sorry,
there's all kinds of things.
What is the question?
How many mods would you typically apply to a game?
Ooh,
so
this
I'm asking,
is going to range an incredible amount depending on what game they play. So is this
I just want to hear from
how many
people.
mods you actually do typically run?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 1 to 2, 3 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 plus.
1 to 2, 11 plus. Okay.
Well,
1
yeah,
to
because
2,
honestly,
3 to
for
5,
Beat Saber, I will easily be
6 to
running
10.
over 10 mods at a given time. And I don't always, because there's...
no, I think you're not understanding my laughter. There's people that are going to be at like 900.
Yeah, I believe you.
Okay,
Yeah. But I just want to get a rough idea because I'm coming to something with this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be making a point with this at some point. Is the poll up? Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the results here. So this is exactly what I was expecting. We've got handfuls of people, around 10 to 15% each, that are saying, 1 to 2, 3 to 5, 6
Guys,
to 10.
hold on. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of comments right now that I think are... right now we're talking about games that you mod.
We're not talking about games you don't mod.
That you play.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Okay.
But over half are saying 11 plus.
Yeah.
And here's the point that I'm coming to, and here's where I think the slippery slope argument starts to gain some momentum for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is what, a $70 game, $80 game, right? Like depending on your currency, right? It's going to be somewhere between $50 to $120.
Yeah, I think it's 79 up in Canada or something.
Yeah, something like that. By the time you pay $5, which was the price of this particular mod, for 10 mods, you are dang close to doubling the cost of the game.
What if you're running 900?
What if you're running 900 mods?
Now you're playing Train Simulator.
Now, unless you're basically like a mobile gaming microtransaction whale, you don't get to play the game that you want to play. Also, if the DRM scheme is such that you have to pay for the mod before you can even try it, I think what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot less momentum for these modding communities, for these modders, because people aren't just going to, throw it on and see what happens and see if it's any good, because the only way for them to monetize that model would be always online. They would have to check if you're running it so that you could, have a 1 hour free demo of a texture upgrade mod or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not opposed to that money getting spread around, right?
Yeah.
Like compared to the predatory whale model that mobile gaming uses, where all the money is going to the developers, I don't mind the passionate, enthusiastic individuals or small groups in the community making some money. That's not a problem to me. But I am not a huge fan of a single player game going from $60, $80 to I don't know, $400 by the time you have all the quality of life. By the time you have enough freaking slots in your belt so that you can actually like gobble down enough potions and food to survive some stupid boss fight or something, right? Like that's the kind of crap that, yeah, probably should be solvable without having to pay a ton of money. At least in my like, monkey caveman early gamer brain. But then somebody did that work, so why aren't they compensated? Like, I can't... Is this one of those rare times that I'm just like, no, I actually cannot take a stance on this. I just want to talk through all the different perspectives and then fold my hands like this and go, well...
Maybe. Yeah, I like this is effectively what you're talking about right now is why my first initial thing was like, yeah, it's going to completely change the whole landscape if it goes this way. Because you look at some of the games that are most well-known... Avon Fox in Floatplane chat said people copying other people's mods 1,000 times over and renaming them to sell will also be rife. Yeah, it's interesting because like if you're selling something, you probably should also be able to handle customer support and refunds. And what if there's compatibility issues with other people's mods? How do you deal with who has to deal with that problem?
Yeah.
And the like drama and issues that's going to cause. There's lots of issues. I just basically I don't know.
Yeah, there's a big difference between the level of polish that something needs to kind of huck it out there for free
versus be a product.
Like I think a perfect...
And that is, to be clear, there are plenty of free mods that are absolutely astonishingly good and deserve to effectively equate to product.
This is a perfect example of that kind of thing. Merch messages is a super cool product and really, really useful for us.
What are we saying here?
No, what we're saying is you and I have talked about this. We're saying that if we were to roll this out for other creators, the amount of documentation, the amount of like polish, the amount of mostly documentation, really, like just
retooling in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, the amount of work that it would take to get it just...
And then we would basically need people
plug and play
on
ready.
Call, like all the time.
Yeah, the support.
Because what if there's an issue?
And so you look at a product like this and you go, wow, holy smokes. Any creator with a Shopify store could be benefiting from merch messages the same way that we are.
Yeah.
Their communities could be benefiting from, instead of throwing money at the screen, ordering products that support the creator. The creator is probably getting a very similar cut, assuming their platform takes, 50 to 30% or whatever it is, and you actually get a product in the mail. Like it's just better. And so
this isn't to say we will never do that.
No,
there's just reasons why we haven't done it yet.
But there's been a lot of work that's gone into it to get it to the point that it is, and to get it that like 8% more. I don't triple the amount of work. Like I don't even know how to quantify that.
Conrad, MMAAS, merch messages as a service. I honestly,
Conrad works on merch messages.
Conrad would know better than me, but it's a very, very significant amount more work, especially to make it scalable. Like there's, because we're not just making another version for someone. We're making a version that can be used by X amount of people, not one more person. So that in itself is like a huge issue.
Here's a question you might know the answer to. How much more work was Floatplane to make it so that other creators...
God, yeah. Astronomical. It was like, honestly, not really that bad to make it just for us. Like near the end of the forum version, it was pretty good. Like it was fine.
Yeah.
And then we tried to scale.
Yeah, Forged Alliance Forever is talking about this. The default Supreme Commander community is virtually dead. The vast majority of Supreme Commander sales, however small that may be, are for using a modded client. And my understanding is that they are not allowed to directly monetize. Like they're not allowed to profit from it. I think it's a not-for-profit. Don't quote me on that.
Not sure.
I don't have a ton of detail about that, but they definitely do run it as a very donation only kind of deal. So maybe someone who knows a bit more can post in the Floatplane chat or whatever else. I don't know. I think this is extremely complicated. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the community, not the collective, to decide. It's going to come down to the individual members of the community, because that's the thing. We talk about the community as this singular entity a lot, but that's simply not the case. And so while even if, let's say, hypothetical numbers, let's say 99% of the community opposed modding or opposed paid mods, and especially DRM mods, how many copies of Starfield have they sold so far? Do we know that? Have they announced anything?
I know they had over 1 million players at one time or whatever.
Yeah, over 1 million players were playing the premium edition on both Steam and Xbox, putting premium edition sales
premium edition
well above 2 million copies. Okay, so what's the cost? Okay, you know what? That doesn't matter. The point is, the amount, the revenue doesn't matter in this for what I'm trying to explain right now, or what I'm trying to demonstrate right now. The point I'm trying to make is that at 2 million copies of this game, and it's a lot more than that, 10% of that would be 200,000, right? And 1% of that would be 20,000. 20,000 people. If only 1% of people are okay with it, that's $100,000 that a modder could make selling their mod for $5. So even if the community hates paid mods, the vast majority are just unanimous about this. Well, that's not unanimous enough.
Interesting.
Sorry,
you're saying
if only 1% is okay and buys the mod, that's $100,000 in revenue
for that
mod.
I think it would end up being the 1% conversion rate.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, 1% is optimistic for basically just at all. Maybe it would be more like 1% of that 1% that is okay with it, which would still be $1,000. Which is still money.
A lot more than zero.
Yeah, and I think that if you have a mod that has mainstream enough appeal, you might be able to convert it greater than 1%. That, and I think we know from the DLSS 3 mod sales that conversion rate is probably pretty good. The number of gamers that are willing to accept paid mods seems to be higher than 1%. 6 million. Okay, there you go.
Biggest Bethesda game launch of all time.
Yeah,
and it's not on PlayStation. So
so that would be 6,000 now. Even if you only convert 1% of your 1% of total possible customers. That is an enormous pool to tap into, even if it's a tiny fraction of the total gamers that play Starfield. So I think the community is just going to decide, and I think that if we're being honest, we know what the answer is.
Some people are going to be doing paid mods now.
Paid mods are here to stay.
If I have to make a prediction, what I would say is it's just going to split into two camps.
Okay.
I think there's going to be a paid modding camp, and I think there's going to be a free modding camp, because I think there's a very significant community of people who learn digital art or digital audio or development or whatever else through modding games, and they're still going to have a lot of fun with it. I think a lot of people still view these things as passion projects, or will be creating a mod that they don't necessarily think they could sell. Maybe it's too minor. Maybe it's one of those things that's going to end up in the list of 900 mods, whatever. But I do think you'll get some major mods that will cost money. Now,
shit's about to get real, Luke. You saw NVIDIA's tech demo where they added ray traced lighting to Morrowind with a bunch of replaced assets and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, on a scale, hold on, just stop it. You're doing the thing again. We're even now. Okay, let me set this up.
Okay.
If it looked pretty cool, right? Out of 10, how cool would you say that looked?
To me, like 10.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm a hyper Morrowind mod.
Big Morrowind guy.
Fan, yeah.
Okay. That mod comes out. It looks just like that. The whole flippin' game looks like that. It costs $50. Do you buy? Yeah, he's already nodding. So that's the thing, right? Is that it's not only just your principled stance on it. It's also how bad do you want it?
Well, no, I don't think that's it, because my principled stance isn't that someone doing work to develop something that's super cool should be not paid for.
But this is not donation.
That's not my stance.
This is
No, I understand.
okay. What if here? Okay, let's sicken the deal. The mod has Denuvo.
Oof. Okay, I might actually not do it then.
It has Denuvo. It's $20.
I am particularly against.
I just want to. It's $20. It looks like that. It runs great. It's $20. It has Denuvo. Look at him. He's thinking about it.
I'm thinking because there are games that looked really cool that I have specifically not purchased because I hate Denuvo.
Were they Morrowind?
No. This is not a very fair example, jerk.
I know, but that's the thing,
No,
right?
I know, I get it.
That's the point I'm trying to make is gamers are passionate. And sometimes the passion of gamers separates their money from their wallets at times when they know, like cognitively, logically, that they shouldn't be doing it. We know we shouldn't pre-order. And yet 2 million concurrents were playing Starfield with the premium pre-order edition.
Yeah. I think Denuvo would be a no for me. So I'd wait till I can crack Denuvo out. I'm not gonna say I've never done that. So maybe there's what I'll call an alternative route. But yeah.
But it's the point I was trying to make was just that this is not as cut and dried as yes, always this way. No, never that way. Everyone's going to have their own, like, okay, I kind of hate the way Nintendo behaves as a company.
Yeah. But you still own a Switch and you still buy their new games.
I keep giving them money.
Yeah.
Because I love video games. Like, I'm sorry.
So
they make fun video games. They also make like really stupid bad ones, but they make really fun ones too.
The Dan Vale said gamers are not passionate, we're stupid. It's like, okay, those aren't mutually exclusive.
Yeah, they could be. Why not both?
We can be both.
Yeah,
we are both.
We can be stupidly passionate.
Yeah,
we can be passionately stupid.
Yeah.
All right, why don't we jump into our next topic?
But yeah,
before we manage to insult
I think it's
everyone.
I think pretty much everyone's mad, but
yeah,
I think this is just.
I think that's less to do with what we said, because I don't think either of us ever really took a firm stance on any of this, and more to do with
people are mad about my. I think the companies should be able to take some of the cut if they release mod tools thing.
Oh, really?
Some people are mad about that. But I think, okay, so here's my point there.
But it's what the market will bear.
Yeah.
It's whether modders choose to mod for that game knowing that that's the deal. If they change the deal, I strongly oppose that. If it starts out as these tools were free and, a lot of people are using this has added a lot of value to our game. New rules.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
What if the modders using those tools start charging, though? Because the scenario that I was talking about was... mods made through let's say Creation Kit comes out, because it's not out for Starfield yet, so this applies to none of the mods that are out currently.
It's free and everyone releases mods for free, but then all of a sudden modders start charging and Bethesda's sitting there going, excuse me, pardon?
And I don't know. I think Jaden's point about the modding cars thing is pretty valid. But then I think the counterpoint is that Bethesda put work into making the Creation Kit specifically.
They did. 4 mods. Knowing that they're going to sell a lot more copies of their game.
Yes.
With the longevity that the value that modders create is going to add to it.
So this is why I don't think... I think another way that I think this might be getting misconstrued is I'm not saying that they should. What I'm more saying is that they're
within their rights.
They could... and I would understand why.
Right.
Yeah. I think it would often, for something like Skyfield, I think would be a deeply unintelligent move.
Starfield, but yes.
Yeah, sorry. What did I say?
Skyfield is really close.
Sick.
Yeah, Morrofield, Oblivion.
But yeah, I think it would be stupid because honestly, in the state that they released the games, like for PC, it like needs mods. You like need UI mods. You need all this other stuff. And I think the reason why Skyrim had the legs on it that it did was the modding community. So I think if they screw up and they're like, no, you like can't release free mods and we're taking a cut of all the paid mods, something like that, I think that would be just an incredibly stupid move.
There's also degrees of taking a cut. If Bethesda came out and said, look, you know, we've got this marketplace and we've got to cover transaction fees and make it like worthwhile to maintain this darn thing, we need like 10 to 15% or something like that, I don't think that's entirely unreasonable. Whereas if they come in and they say, yeah, it's 50-50.
Oh, that's a lot.
Then that's a lot, right? So
and there's games like, I think it doesn't Roblox take like 90% or some insanity?
Yeah,
like
so it's always shades of gray.
What would you think about a slider system?
Oh, like Humble Bundle?
Yeah.
I think
this percentage goes to and you can go to zero.
Yeah,
this percentage of the payment goes towards creation kit. This percentage of the payment goes towards the modder.
I think if you have that, you might as well just put 100% towards the modder, because even the most ardent fans of Bethesda games hate Bethesda. So
they're all just going to zero you out?
Yeah, I really think that is not even a possibility. People going, you know what, 100% to Bethesda, let's go.
How many people do you think would skip changing the sliders, though? Like, if they put it like 80-20, 20% goes to creation kit, 80% goes to the mod creator.
It depends on how many dark patterns are involved in the creation of this slider, because Humble Bundle, for example, at least the last time I bought one, was like very front and center. Hey, this is a slider. This is what it does. You must interact with this button before you can proceed and buy this bundle of games. So it's really going to depend on how skeezy they are about the positioning of the slider. And I think that's something they could influence a lot.
Another thing that I would say is...
We're never going to move on from this topic. I tried.
I have one last bit. Another thing that I would say is that if you're mad about my... Like, I think it could make sense for developers to take cut if they make the modding tools. There's this stuff that's already out there. And if you're not mad, now's probably the time. If this is something that you want to stop.
Skyblock?
Yep.
Really?
You pay for it.
Wow.
Minecraft Marketplace.
There
It's
you
interesting, too, because I noticed this, but Rare Loot, who I guess made Skyblock, I haven't heard of these other ones, but Skyblock, it has 3 out of 4 on the What's Popular.
Wow.
I don't know what the splits are here. I know nothing about this at all.
Man.
It might only work with one type of Minecraft, because I know there's a bunch of different types of Minecraft. I'm not a Minecraft person. I don't know.
The way the pricing is done should be illegal.
How it's obfuscated by coins?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupid. I hate it.
The fact that this is marketed at kids and the fact that the pricing is hidden is extremely problematic.
Yeah. And Conrad's saying, to be fair, Marketplace has some pretty great stuff. Yeah, and there's already amazing mods for Starfield. And there's a mind-blowing, incredible whole game quality mods for Skyrim.
Yeah.
And like Skyblivion's coming out. There's amazing things.
I'm catching up Bits 2435 in the Floatplane chat. That's his whole point. He goes, are they just now complaining about this after years? No, that's his whole point, is that if you're mad about this now, you kind of missed the boat a little bit.
We've missed the boat a bit. And
you need to go back and be mad about... It's kind of like if you're mad about microtransactions in mobile gaming. You need to go back in time and be mad about horse armor.
And some people were.
And some people,
because people were mad about horse armor.
I didn't buy it.
People were also mad about how Roblox has been around at all.
Yep.
But I think like if this is something that the community wants to stand up against, you got to do it loud and now. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like honestly, it seems to me like we may have already reached a point of no return here. Like, I don't think...
With that person who made the DLSS mod making $40,000 in a month, I guarantee you...
It's a gold rush, essentially, at that point. As soon as one person makes a year's worth of income in a month...
Whoa.
You're gonna have people looking.
There's gonna be parents whose kids have fun modding games that are now pushing them to try to make it a career instead of a passion, which is straight up going to make a bunch of things worse in a bunch of different ways.
Why do I read Twitch chat?
Yeah.
Beating that horse armor to death at this point. But that's the point.
It's the same company that we're centering this entire conversation around.
And that was the start of microtransactions in gaming. That was that turning point when we had an opportunity to buy microtransaction crap after the fact or not buy it. And enough of the community, back to my point about, whether it's 1% or more, enough of the community was willing to do that Bethesda made enough money that other gaming companies stood up and took notice and went, this is the future of monetization in gaming. Yeah. And that's what got us where we are today. And there was probably stuff that went on behind the scenes. And there were things that other companies were working on at the same time. It was just that it was one of the highest profile, most obviously successful, in spite of how mad everybody was, moments for microtransactions. And yeah, we keep talking about that one. Why? Because that was the one. So we could talk about other ones, but then we'd be wrong. All right, why don't we jump into... Oh, shoot. No, there was a thing that I had wanted to... it doesn't matter. What do you want to jump into next? Nintendo demos the Switch 2?
Sure, we can talk about that.
Whatever it is. According to multiple sources, Nintendo held a closed-door demonstration of the successor to the Switch for developers at Gamescom last month. The demonstration used to target specs of the new console to run both. The demo used target specs of the console.
I just got a oh no moment.
What?
$40,000 for a graphical feature that could be a microtransaction from the company itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. I didn't even think about that till right now.
Yeah. That was sort of, that was what I was getting at with doubling the cost of the game and $300 for the game and stuff like that. No. I know. And the company could ship it without DLSS 3 and be like, yeah, it's another $5. Or without ultra textures. I mean, it's basically just a first-party texture mod.
Yeah, do you want... Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Do you want the low-tier version of this game?
I know. This is a cool game that has 6 different endings, or you can get up to 12 different endings for another $10.
That's already sort of a thing, yeah. The thing that's blowing my mind, I guess, is the settings behind a microtransaction, because there's already been content, for sure, but I don't think I've seen settings.
I mean, is a texture pack not a setting? It's kind of content. It's kind of a setting. Which one is it? I don't know. It's riding the line.
Yeah.
It's right there.
It could be sort of.
It's right there. It could fall on this side. It could fall on this side. I don't know which side it's going to fall on.
I hate it. Okay, switch to Runaway. We got to talk about this thing. Sorry, go.
Okay, all right. Occasionally it's okay to look at Twitch chat. Dark Matter Synthesis. Yes, I was mad over Horse Armor. The problem is we already know gamers don't have any willpower to say no. We are f***ed.
Yep, that's 100% true.
All right, Nintendo demos the Switch 2. Speaking of having no willpower, I'm probably going to buy it. The demonstration used the whatever it was, whether it was a developer kit or whether it was a prototype, we don't know what it is, to run both at higher frame rates and higher resolution in Breath of the Wild and the Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine 5 tech demo that was originally created in 2021 to show off the capabilities of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. It apparently is capable of both ray tracing and current-gen HD visuals using NVIDIA's DLSS AI upscaling, which, can I just say, called it. I called this hard. I was like, man, Switch 2 should just use DLSS to have a way better TV gaming experience without necessarily needing to move past mobile-capable hardware.
What does current-gen HD mean?
I don't know. I was going to come back to that.
Okay. Sorry, you can keep going.
Nope, you can keep going because I just got signed out of my Google account.
Oh boy. Other reports have corroborated that a Switch sequel is in the works and that key partners already have dev kits in hand. Ooh. It's possible that a launch could come as early as the final quarter of 2024. Really? You think so? But Nintendo has made no public commitments at this point.
Well, it depends what it is. If it's a completely new gaming experience a la Nintendo Wii, then yeah, it's probably going to be a minute because if developers are just getting dev kits now, unless they're going to rush these games out in a year, I mean, good flippin' luck, right? Then again, it wouldn't be the first time that Nintendo gave their own internal teams lots of time to work on something and external teams less time. Where was I going with this? Right. But if it's more of a Wii U, where it's like kind of that thing, but with a gimmick or, more different, then no, I mean, I think it could be realistic. Like if you just plug in Breath of the Wild, and since everything's online anyway, it just downloads, new higher resolution textures or something to your console, and then you just run the game from your internal storage or something like that. Yeah, I don't see why a new console that takes the same basic game cartridges but then just runs them at higher resolution and higher frame rate couldn't come out soon. And it might launch without any particular blockbuster game available for it. I don't know. I have kind of a conspiracy theory here that Tears of the Kingdom was supposed to be a next-gen Switch title. That would have been what they did, and then
honestly, it would have made a lot of sense.
It would have made a ton of sense, but I wonder if it was just a matter of the timing not being
ready.
Quite right. Maybe Ada Lovelace came too late, and Nintendo really wanted the improvement. Man, give NVIDIA flack all you want. Go for it. Do it. Give NVIDIA some flack.
They're big, mean jerks.
Okay, that was...
They don't care about gamers anymore.
Truly powerful words. Thank you, Luke. Give them flack all you want. 40 series is flippin' efficient.
Yes.
Really efficient.
Also very expensive.
And very efficient.
And I find has a lot of issues.
Expensive, efficient. Mobile Nintendo handheld. Match made in heaven. So I had kind of this theory around the time that Tears of the Kingdom was coming out that it seemed kind of overdue. Like it kind of seemed like this should have been the launch title for the next big Nintendo console if it was going to be a Switch successor, which at the time was rumored to be. But what I kind of wonder is if it matters. I wonder if Nintendo looked at it and went, holy smokes, the Switch and the Switch OLED are still selling, not as well as they used to, but they are still selling. Do we need a launch title? Or do we just have better hardware and you can plug in all the same games and we're going to continue making games and those games will continue selling consoles the same way that they always do because we're flipping Nintendo and we make great games that people want to play. And, honestly, I talked about this back when the Xbox Series came out. My theory was that the Series S and the Series X were just the tip of the iceberg. As it turns out, I haven't been correct, at least not yet. But what I thought was that the series name, which otherwise seemed phenomenally stupid to me, like I couldn't come up with any other reason for it. I thought the series name meant that it was kind of the last generation of Xbox. And from then on, we were just going to get essentially PCs and Xbox clothing, and they would just get upgrades.
That's what was vaguely communicated at the time.
And the games would just kind of run better depending on which one it is. And I thought that the whole point of Series S, Series X was that they were priming game developers and the community for just, Xboxes that are just gaming boxes that can be less powerful or more powerful. And it was, it was already kind of happening in the previous generation. So I don't know. I haven't been right about that yet, but who knows? Maybe Nintendo will be the one to do it and just kind of go, okay, yeah, we'll just upgrade the hardware once in a while and keep building gaming experiences for this platform. It'll run at 720p, 30 FPS on this one, or 60, and then it'll run at 1080p, 60 or 120 on this one, and we'll do another one a few years later, and it'll run at 4K or whatever the case may be, 1440p. I don't know. Avon Fox says, upgradable Xbox, let's go. Okay, that I'm not expecting to happen anytime
big
soon.
doubt.
So with all of that in mind, the real discussion here, even though we managed to talk about this for a lot longer than I expected, was what is your dream? Now, you bought a Switch at some point and then returned it, if I recall correctly?
No, I still have my Switch.
You do still have a Switch. Okay.
I played it quite well. Technically, so I had a Switch and then I modded it. So I replaced the backing with that translucent purple, retro Nintendo style stuff. And I actually used it quite a bit.
How dare you call the N64 retro? I hate you. It just makes me feel really old.
Is. I had one too, man, when it was current. Or did we get it? I think we got it the generation after, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, but then my parents like stopped working. So I was like, I'll fix it. You can take mine while I do that. And then I brought it home and I turned it on. And it's never had a problem since. So I'm technically using my parents and they're technically using mine. But
I see.
They function, so whatever. But yes, I still have a Switch. Long story short.
Yeah, okay, cool. So then, the whole idea here behind this topic was laying out kind of what we think will happen and what we want to happen. First of all, why don't we take turns? My wish list, easily backupable save games. No cloud subscription required. I want it. I think it is not going to happen. What do you want? What do you think will happen?
I want a bit of a return to more fun local party games.
Okay, that's content. That's not the console.
Yeah, but in my
Dang it,
opinion,
Luke.
that's a lot of what Nintendo stuff has been forever. I don't think the actual quality of the console has like almost ever been a real selling point.
N64?
Like the quality of the Wii was not really the selling point of the Wii.
No, you have to go back farther
It
than
was
that.
the content.
N64, like it's right in the name. It's like it's 64-bit, blah 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 blah. Like it was a huge push. They actually had I did that unboxing on Short Circuit recently.
And you had your RAM upgrade or whatever that was.
They had the frequency of the chip on the box. That is such a not Nintendo thing to do these days.
That really
They don't
is.
tell you how many gigahertz the Switch runs at.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it. Because, like, honestly, I enjoyed this is going to be time for a spicy take.
I enjoyed my Wii.
The Wii U
I know.
more than I enjoyed the Switch. Because the Wii U is more fun to have people over and play games on.
Yeah, that's fair.
There was not that anyone played it because no one bought a Wii U, but that Super Mario Bros. Game that came out for Wii U that had the fifth player, and the fifth player had their own screen on the built-in screen handheld that had its own gameplay style and stuff. That was really fun and not doable on any console that wasn't a Wii U because you had to have that handheld screen on that extra controller, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I don't know necessarily how the console would do it itself, but I feel like the Wii U and the Wii itself both invited development of that style, and the Switch invited single-player experiences.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. I mean, obviously, neither you nor I has access to Nintendo's telemetry data for what percentage of playtime on the Switch is in handheld mode versus docked mode, but I would guess...
I'm going to argue most of it's in handheld.
I would guess the same thing.
With no, like you're saying, data behind it. I just would argue that that's true.
Well, with that in mind, I would like to see a higher refresh rate screen. I don't need to see 120 hertz. I'd settle for 90. Even 75. Anything higher than 60.
90, I would be stoked on 90.
I'd be very happy with 90 because the thing is, the difference between 60 and 90 is way nicer than the difference between 90 and 120. And it just has to do with how much the reduction in frame time is between the two.
I'm even going to go on a limb and say I would prefer 60 to 90 versus 90 to 150.
Yes. I'm not sure if like mathematically it quite works out to being better. But it's
I just
very
care
noticeable.
so much more about just once you get to 90, I'm like pretty stoked on the experience, you know?
Game grime in Floatplane chat. How about just 60 that's actually playable on hardware and handheld? How about just that even? Okay. The point of this is that it's a wish list. It's not a realism list because I don't think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get 60.
This is something that I wanted. I don't know how they would do it, but I wanted some form of accelerator when you put it in a dock.
I mean, that could be done USB 4. Like,
yeah, there's
no way that NVIDIA couldn't build a chip with some kind of USB 4 or Thunderbolt implementation at this point.
But like, I want it to. I want there to be like a reason to dock it other than it goes on a TV screen and you can see all them pixels.
Interesting. I Oh man, just everything seems so unlikely somehow, and yet obviously they have to upgrade it. Here's what I want to know. Right, back to my conspiracy theory. That's where I was going with this. My conspiracy theory that they just like were gonna have Switch 2 for Tears of the Kingdom and then just like didn't. I think that Steam Deck has put a lot of pressure on Nintendo to bother to update this thing. And if you look at the timing for when they might have kind of gone, okay, no, we actually seriously do need to actually freaking develop this thing, it's not that unbelievable. Because it doesn't necessarily have to be right when Steam Deck launches. It could be that it's been like a slow pressure build as the Steam Deck launched, and then gamers really liked it, and then emulators not only existed, but got super easy to use, and oh my goodness, our games run better on it. Like there might have just been like a wake up, a slow wake up process at Nintendo to the fact that they have competition in handheld gaming again. Because that's the biggest reason that I can think of that Nintendo needs a sequel for the Switch, is that they own handheld gaming. They have tons of competition when it comes to living room gaming, and they have basically forever. But they have owned handheld gaming basically forever. And so for Nintendo, you know, I would see them losing the living room race as, you know, a problem. But I think to them, losing the handheld race is an existential threat, if that kind of makes sense. And I could see that lighting a serious, serious fire under their butts. We are supposed to now explain and do a couple merch messages. So we already kind of covered this earlier in the show, but for those of you who are just joining us, merch messages are our alternative to super chats or Twitch bits or otherwise hucking money at the screen and hoping that Senpai notices you. What you do is you go on LTTStore.com and you check out any of the cool items we have there, like, whoa, we have a wristlet keychain now, a new series of pins, and what is this? A Luke Nukem T-shirt design. What? Hold on a second. Wait,
What
Dan's
is
got a
that?
box. He's going to throw it at us.
Oh my, okay. For Luke plus Linus, but mostly Luke, LTTStore.com. What is this? What?
Your water bottle is right in the way of the thing you're opening.
Of course
You're doing great, Luke.
Yeah, sorry. Well, it kind of matches the color of the shirt a little bit. So hold on. This one's going to be yours for sure.
I actually don't even remember
Are you gonna wear my face on your body?
Of course
Nice.
I am.
Heck yeah.
I don't even remember the full context for this. I think it was like you trying to stop me from destroying the channel or something like that. Or
That probably sounds about right.
yeah, I don't remember. I love this. Twitch chat, always with the good takes. Nobody will buy that. Twitch chat, do you have any idea how many of these we've sold already?
What, really?
Look at it. It's flipping awesome.
I mean, I think it's cool, but I don't know. I hazard to assume people would put my face on their body.
I mean, I'm going to do it.
Hey.
I
Let's go.
give it like a couple months before someone has a tattoo of this on their body.
That would be amazing. Luke Nukem. What? I remember saying nuke a whole bunch of times on a stream, but I don't remember why.
Like I said, I also do not remember the full context for this. All I know is that I think Sarah did a bang up job of this.
Oh, it looks great. I appreciate how I appreciate the muscularity that she gave me. That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I was going to comment on that. Be like, hey, we actually, I don't know if the other designers passed their 90-day like initial probation period, but there was some help from one of the other designers as well. So Sarah and one of our other designers worked together on it. I can just switch to my cam if you just want to stay there. Boom. Anyway, yep. Freaking cool. I love it. You guys can check that out at LTT Store. We've also got, how does this work? Am I able to have Linus laptop and Linus cam, or are we going to show nipples on Twitch?
You totally can.
That does work. Super cool. So we've also got new versions of the lanyard that are just, more of like a bracelet. They can, you clip onto a thing or clip onto other more different thing. Not everybody likes a huge long lanyard. And then Series 2 pins. This is a really fun collection. Sarah did a really great job. The hard drive pin is mirrored, so it's super, super shiny. It's kind of hard to tell from that picture, but there it is. I would like to point out that this is not, in fact, infringing and BMO. Okay, this is the little character from the ABCs of gaming. Oh, sorry. Yeah,
no, I'm just showing how it's shiny. Oh, now it's harder to see. Go back.
That is actually worse. Good job, Linus.
You can see how shiny it is.
Yeah, that's the hard drive pin. Give it a sec, Luke. I can go to the big one. We've got the short circuit blocks, and then, which, by the way, if you look closely, this is an S. Okay, and this is a C.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know, right? Anywho.
All right.
And a strawberry for no reason.
Wow, I don't know how to feel about this. The art is fantastic. Wearing my own face and name on my body is a little weird.
You get used to it.
But yeah, I was going to ask you how you feel about that.
You actually don't. Okay, I think some people get used to it. I actually, I only notice it sometimes now. Like I'll have moments where I'll find someone's hoodie lying around, and I'll be frustrated because we issue people hoodies. Like everyone gets a merch budget, and they can just request stuff. And so it's frustrating to me whenever I see waste anywhere. And so if people don't label something and they just leave it around, I'll go like, I wish people would put their names on things. And it's like, yeah, for me it's easy because like my name's on all of them, I guess.
I'll just have kind of funny thoughts like that. Your name onto something that has your name already on it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I never even thought about that before.
Yeah. I write LS on my merch items because otherwise they get mixed up with other people's.
That's pretty funny. It makes sense, but it's just pretty funny. I love the design. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't fully remember the context. Someone said, yeah, nuke Mars, nuke the moon, nuke everything.
Oh, yeah. You were just like that. Yeah.
Well, why was I doing that?
I
remember it, but I don't remember why I did it.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't feel like it really matters that much.
It might have just bothered you, so I just did it for fun. I don't know.
All I know at this point is that it's a really cool design.
Yeah. No, I love it. It's great.
Anyway.
I'm going to have to get a bunch for my family and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I hope you have enough merch budget left over.
Yeah, you'll make some sales off of me.
Hey! Luke buying Luke Nukem shirts for all his friends and family. Oh, there's something else coming. Don't worry about it.
What? What does that mean? Is it the budgie stickers?
Look, what I said is obviously true. There is something else coming. I mean, it's factually accurate. The something somewhere is coming, I'm sure.
Oh, apparently I wanted to nuke the moon as a way to terraform it or something. I think I was talking about Mars.
Yeah.
And I was talking about how Elon wanted to do that or something. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Either way.
Yeah, someone will find it. Luke Nukem plush. Interesting. I wonder at what point we get in trouble over infringement. I mean, it's obviously Luke.
Yeah.
That's not.
It doesn't look like Duke Nukem.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I mean, neither.
Any similarity to whatever it is.
And if they made one, it would take them 11 years to release the shirt anyways.
Okay, don't poke the bear.
You killed him, dude. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely murdered. Luke sick burns gone nuclear.
Speaking of nuking things, I'm going to bring us back. I know, I'm sorry, it's the new version of AI topics. I'm going to bring us back to that Bethesda topic for a second.
No, you're not. You're going to explain and do 2 merch messages.
Oh, okay. I'll save it. I'm going to lose the...
Okay, fine. Just do it. Let's talk about it. We're going back to the Bethesda topic. Let's go.
It has been brought to my attention by James Ryan and with some help, Handyman and some other people in the Floatplane chat, that there's some interesting things in the Starfield EULA. One line, specifically, I'm going to do section 3.E. These are limitations and restrictions. Exploit the game or any of its parts, including with limitation, the game client for any commercial purpose. Including, without limitation, renting, leasing, or licensing the game to others. Including, without limitation, A, for gathering virtual currency, items or resources for sale outside the game, or for performing in-game services in exchange for payment outside of the game. In that case, it says e.g. power leveling, which I think comes from their online services. There's some really weird sections of this EULA that people have pointed out to me before.
So these things are all forbidden.
Those things stated, which... why is there pizza here? Oh, okay. I don't know. The gathering of virtual currency...
Well, that's gold farming.
It's not like this sounds like part that they took from the Elder Scrolls Online. And I don't think actually pertains to this particular mod, in my opinion.
Got it. Okay.
But there are really, really weird sections like this one that is talking about it specifically names power leveling, which is a thing that happens in like MMOs. There's other sections where it talks about how you can't use mods that would negatively impact other people's gameplay. Mm-hmm. And it's like,
yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
This is a single player game. So there's a
For
ton
now.
of stuff in the EULA that talks about multiplayer specific things.
Right.
So
Okay.
I wonder if there's like a DLC or something or an expansion coming in the future that allows you to have companions on your ship that are your buddies. Because why else would they have these limitations in the EULA?
Well, that's basically just Star Citizen.
It pertains to Fallout 76.
That functionality
It's from
would-
Fallout 76. Okay.
That functionality would take 10 years to build, obviously.
That's generous.
But yeah, okay. So they pulled it from Fallout 76, sure. But either way, it came from a game that is not a single player game.
Gabriel R. says,
interesting.
sorry to keep beating on this, but it seems like an important question. Do you think it makes a difference if we complain at the start of a trend, like with horse armor? It seems to me that companies will push it until they can, no matter what, and it will only stop happening after it becomes so bad people grab their pitchforks and go for the throat. That's exactly the point, though, is if you grab the pitchforks and go for the throat right at the beginning when you see this behavior that on a small scale might not be a big deal, but on a large scale is going to completely change the face of gaming, then that will be the point where the pitchforks come out and you go for the throat and they kind of go, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this. Or maybe they just will do it anyway because that small percentage of people will continue to buy it. Okay, anyway, we never finished explaining merch messages. So the point is that we don't do super chats or Twitch bits or anything like that. We do merch messages, so you guys just go on LTTStore.com and in the cart, there will be a box when we're live for a merch message, and it'll get sent to producer Dan, who will either just pop it up there or maybe curate it for us to talk about, or maybe give you a little reply with his burning fingies. Ah, look at them go. They were doing something. It's fine. And we're going to do a couple of them just to kind of show you guys how that works. Dan, do you have a couple curated ones for us?
I do. Let's see.
I do saw a putty cat.
I do. Do you think traditional style forums will ever make a comeback, or are hybrid social media forums like Reddit the best we will get in the mainstream?
That ship sailed. Reddit, the Reddit community, and again, I'm speaking of it as though it's this monolithic thing, and it's not, but the Reddit community as a whole had their shot. And that was during the whole, Spez thing. And I think that what Reddit learned from all of that is that people are addicted to Reddit and will never stop using Reddit. And I learned the same thing. There was an opportunity for people to go, oh, this is bad, having all this power consolidated in the hands of a company that clearly doesn't give a fuck. And I haven't seen any kind of meaningful shift to smaller community-oriented forums. Obviously, we continue to maintain ours minimally, but because we do think it's important, and there are other small forum communities that do exist, but no, I don't think anything beats Reddit anymore. I mean, during that whole debacle, I was saying, I think this could be it. Dig came and went, but I just, I feel
Still
like
here.
I feel like the rate of change. How we went from Zanga to people just having like an MSN profile to fit, like how quickly all this live journal, like how quickly all MySpace, like how quickly everything used to change. So there's a lot of inertia in the incumbent players now, and it seems like Reddit has got it pretty much nailed down.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I just, yeah, rip Newgrounds, right?
And for the second one, hey Linus, what is the progress on the smaller LTTStore backpack?
Yeah, I'm glad you called it smaller and not small, because we kind of realized that in trying to keep a lot of carrying capacity for laptops and tablets and devices, it's not that much smaller. Like, it is smaller. It has an external water bottle carrier, so all of that like water bottle capacity is now shrunk, or well, outside. And it does have a smaller bag of holding. It is more comfortable on smaller framed people, but it's not small. I would say it's more like a LTT backpack light as opposed to a small LTT backpack. I think we're getting pretty close to production for that. I think. Oh, I know what it is. The holdup is zipper pulls. So we want to make sure that our production is done for the replacement zipper pulls for all the people who bought the original bag. Then we're going to production with the smaller bag as well as to production with the Luxe bag. Yes.
That makes sense.
Priorities.
I have another update. Sorry. Gonna keep doing it, but I think this one's pretty big. James Ryan, again, sent me a link to the creation kit for Skyrim, and one of the very first sections. Like, I'll share my screen. This is the top of it. The first actual section is restrictions on use. The editor is and shall remain. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that still. Maybe even more.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Now you don't even have to read it. They could just read it.
Yeah. The editor is and shall remain the copyrighted property of Bethesda Softworks and or its designees. And you shall take no action inconsistent with such title or ownership, except as set forth in Section 5 below. You may not cause or permit the sale or any other commercial distribution or commercial exploitation, yada, 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 whether on a pay-per-play basis or otherwise, of any new materials without the express prior written consent of an authorized representative of Bethesda Softworks.
That's pretty clear.
This DLSS thing was not made using Creation Kit. There is no Creation Kit for Starfield yet. So I don't think that applies to this situation.
But it's very clear that Bethesda maintains the legal right to control anything that happens with Creation Kit.
With Creation Kit specifically.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, again, I think maybe I worded it poorly or something earlier, but people were like, whoa, these things weren't made with Creation Kit. I understand that. It's not out yet. Every single Starfield mod currently out was not made with Creation Kit because Creation Kit is not out. And we don't even have a release date for Creation Kit. So, like, it might not even be soon.
Tim in Floatplane chat asks, these are big important questions here. I sent a merch message about this, but I noticed the Luke Nukem shirt is a pre-order. I thought you said don't pre-order stuff anymore. Do I pre-order it or not? Okay. It's just a shirt. Our shirts are already a product that we already ship, and it's printed by our printer who does a great job and prints lots of products that we already ship. It's a pre-sale so that we don't overproduce it, because even though I personally love it and have a high degree of confidence in the design,
it's pretty specific.
Not enough to print 10,000 of them and just hope for the best.
Yeah.
So we just want to make exactly as many as you people want to buy.
I think the design is great. I appreciate the work put into it. I don't know how many of these we're going to move.
What if you cheap out on this one, though? I actually can't. They are actually just shirts that are actually just in our warehouse already, and we just take to the printer and they print on them.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's not a pre-order. It's a pre-sale. It's an auction. It's, anyway. Do you want to hit us with one more, Dan?
Yeah, sure. Hey, DLL, celebrating my birthday watching the WAN Show. What is the absolute stupidest piece of tech that you've ever bought that you found you actually had a use for?
Oh, man. It's going to have to be like some weird adapter or something for me.
Yeah.
That I ever bought. Boy, is that a tough one.
That I actually had use for? Is that... And what was it? Weird piece of tech? Was that it?
I mean, it's not a weird piece of tech, but it's a
Stupidest.
It's not a stupid piece of tech, but it's a stupid implementation. I did end up using that TV I put in the bathtub.
I think that's a fair answer.
More than a little bit. It's like, who wouldn't? And not just me. Like when my kids were little, right? So when the kids were having a bath, right? We put on Paw Patrol in the bathtub, and then they're having a bath and watching Paw Patrol or whatever. Like, yeah, cool.
You're gonna enjoy this. Zenthroxin in Floatplane chat said anything Silverstone.
Yeah, I mean, I have a key fob that remotely starts my computer. Sure, why not? Silverstone, baby.
Silverstone makes some weird stuff. Mine's going to be boring. I bought a 10 key. So it's, you have 10 keyless keyboards. Well, it's the bit that most people chop off. I bought one of those in Taiwan that has blue switches made by Leopold. And I was like, I understand the theory of you have your 10 keyless keyboard and then you have your mousing area. I was going to say mouse pad, but a lot of your mouse pads will go under your keyboard. So just your mousing area, and then you have your 10 key on the other side, and that actually works out really well. But I don't know if I'll ever actually use this, and I still use that same 10 key now, and that was 10 years ago.
Oh, I love my stupid little keyboard air mouse thing.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Use it all the time.
Yeah.
Love it so much that when I realized it was discontinued, I bought 2 more just so that I would have more to use when it died. And it's, it seems like a pretty superfluous thing. I don't know, just grab a keyboard and mouse or whatever. But being able to just hold it, especially in VR. So I use it for my VR system. So I'll have my headset on and I'll be doing something that, I don't know, doesn't work in the virtual desktop. Anytime I think it's Task Manager. You can't interact with Task Manager from inside the virtual desktop for some reason. I think that's it, or is it Control Delete? I don't know. There's some things you can't interact with, and so I'll grab my air mouse and then I'll just be looking at the virtual screen and I'll be able to use it. It's and with my controller, it's just hanging from my wrist. It's awesome, awesome.
Oh.
Did you think of another one?
I thought of one, and then I laughed at something in chat, and then it's completely gone from my mind. I don't remember what it was at all.
Was it someone's concern that they might pre-order the shirt, but it ships with only one sleeve, and they have to wait for drivers to get the other one?
No.
Just wait for modders to charge for it.
No, the green is not glow in the dark, although it does have some kind of fluorescent ink, but it is not glow in the dark. We've experimented with glow in the dark ink, and unfortunately we haven't found one that meets our quality standards. They tend to fade and not work very well after a pretty short period of time. So that's why we haven't moved forward with a glow in the dark shirt. But yeah, I loved the idea when I heard it, when we initially talked about it. There's also color change ones and stuff like that, but none of them have unfortunately held up.
The staying power is rough.
That's why we don't do the holofoil ones anymore. I saw someone with a pristine GPU holofoil shirt at LTX. They were like, yeah, I know that these are not very resilient, so I never wear it. I may not even wash it after wearing it this time. I might just sun it, and get the smell out that way, because I love how this thing looks, and I know that it won't look the same if I wash it a bunch.
Yeah. Man, I can't remember what it was. I don't think I'm going to think of it. I think we should just move on. But yeah.
Okay.
So I think we need to do topics.
Yeah, let's do some topics.
Should we do this Google one? I'm not going to lie. I don't even fully understand what's happening here, just because I don't fully know the controls on YouTube.
Okay, this is almost 2 separate things that we've just kind of rolled into one discussion topic, because it's basically Google going all spur change. The original article's here from Ars Technica and Google Support, actually. Google is rolling out its new Privacy Sandbox for the web, a user tracking ad platform that's baked into Chrome that uses the information collected through the browser to inform websites what topic the user is interested in for the purpose of targeted ads. The feature is apparently intended to one day replace third-party cookies. Wow, let's put more power in the Google monopoly. What do you think?
Yeah,
Seem like a good idea? It seems like a good idea to me.
sketchy.
/S. feel like I have to say that.
Yeah, it's probably
more
not a bad
these days.
idea.
I
Yeah,
don't know. Users will now see a pop-up asking them to turn on an ad privacy feature that will give them more choice over the ads they see while protecting their browser history and identity. While the pop-up does note that users can make changes in Chrome settings, it doesn't clarify that the feature can be opted out of, and clicking that the highlighted "got it" at the bottom of the page enables it by default. Other users have reported, speaking of dark patterns, other users have reported seeing a version that makes the option to opt out explicit, but it's unclear if this is in response to criticism of the initial pop-up or if it's a regional difference in areas that have more stringent legal standards.
Got it? Like this first one is extremely dark pattern.
Here we can actually show it. This is what it looks
This
like.
one's rough.
Enhanced ad privacy in Chrome. Blah, 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 blah. Got it.
I guarantee you the vast majority of people are going to go like, oh, some weird update. Okay, got it.
Yep.
I want to go to my
Honestly,
my Facebook or whatever it is. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
This is the other version, by the way.
Which makes way more sense.
Yep. Meanwhile, so I don't know. There's not really much discussion here. That bad. Meanwhile, YouTube will be altering creators' ad controls in November by removing individual ad controls in YouTube Studio for pre-roll, post-roll, skippable, and non-skippable ads on new videos, and instead making them a single toggle, on or off. Interesting. According to YouTube, oh man, I love it when companies provide this rationale for changing the granularity of your options as a user. According to YouTube, 90% of creators already have these. Okay, this says off by default, but I suspect that is not right. I suspect they mean on by default. 90% of creators already have these set this way by default. That's what I'm assuming this says. And some found the options confusing.
You got to love that some creators didn't like the thumbs down feature. So we can remove it. We have basically infinite creators. So there will always be some group of people that think something, and therefore we can do anything that we want.
All it takes is 0.00001% of creators to find something confusing. And some creators will find it confusing. Mid-roll ads, however, will still be fully controlled by creators for now. I added for now, but honestly, the way this slippery slope is sliding really does feel like a for now. Further, YouTube says creators will be able to choose to have automated mid-roll ad breaks or manually selected ones. And manually selected ones rather than choosing one or the other. Okay, so some context for you guys. The way that it works now, you choose to just let YouTube pick where to put mid-rolls based on where it doesn't disrupt user retention, or more likely, where it makes sense for the amount of time it's been since that individual user has seen a mid-roll. Because they try to ride the exact line between what you will tolerate and what will make you exit the app, right? So if someone goes from a video where YouTube chose the mid-roll spots and there happened to be 2 in the latter half or something like that, and then they click on a video where the user picked the mid-roll spots and they happen to have a couple front-loaded, they could end up accidentally overloading someone. But in spite of that potential issue, they are now giving better control over mid-rolls. So you can basically go, well, I definitely want one here, but also you can put them anywhere else you feel like. My understanding is most creators do use the automated mid-roll breaks as opposed to the manually selected ones, but I don't have any numbers
some that
to
have
back
like
that
very
up.
important content pacing, which might want to frame it.
Yeah, I think mostly though, MrBeast uses automated ones the last time I heard about it, and so basically whatever he does is kind of the meta.
What everyone's going to do.
Yeah. Apparently he's like trying thumbnails where he doesn't have his mouth open or something, and like he saw some positive results from that. So hey, maybe that's new meta as well, is no more YouTuber face. Or he's still got his like lips open, but he's like, if you look back, like the last 6 videos or something like that, he's smiling like this in all of them instead of like that. Sure.
It looks like almost like AI generated face.
If MrBeast, here, can I switch over to your laptop?
Yeah.
If MrBeast jumped off a bridge, I really do think that a lot of other people would do it.
Would just do it with him.
Yep.
Oh, geez. What's happening?
Oh, geez. Oh, geez.
The Zoom is not happy.
Wow, Luke.
We're going to end it.
Do you even compute?
Well, the touchscreen is...
Luke, compute him.
The touch...
We won't be making that shirt anytime soon.
No. But yeah, something about the thumbnails... his face looks very edited.
This is great. If in 724 in Floatplane chat says spoke too soon, that is not better. So I didn't see their original comment, but I guess they were saying, oh, this will be a big improvement.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back to your laptop.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can anyone's teeth actually be that white?
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like it almost looks like a really, really good Sims model.
Can't deny that it works.
Something is being edited there.
Literally anywhere from 100 to 200 million views per video. I mean, who else can do that? If that smile could get me 100 million views, sure, I'll smile like that. I mean, I tried. I didn't do as good of a job. I'm not as young as him, unfortunately.
And now we need to photo edit you. Looks
Yeah,
AI
yeah,
generated.
fair bit of
Yeah,
that.
like almost does. It has. I don't know what it is. And like I've obviously seen him, so like I'm not saying he looks like that. I'm just like these.
No, he looks like a pretty normal dude.
Yeah, and then they just something's different. I don't know what it is.
Cargo asks, any rain cover updates? Yeah, I had someone ask that on the forum, and I said, look, I'm sorry, we're not done yet, but we sent them a prototype.
Rain cover?
Yeah, rain cover for the backpack.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I saw the design for it though. Okay, you know how reflective stuff can be like silver, or it can be like kind of rainbow?
Okay.
Why not both? So we're gonna have, it's kind of inspired by the Northern
Like
Lights
two different options,
desk pad.
or
No, like both on the same design. So it's kind of inspired by the Northern Lights desk pad, and it's gonna be like trees in the foreground, and they're gonna be like the rainbow one.
Oh, this
and
is
then like
sick.
mountains, and then like kind of constellations in the sky, and it'll be on the back of your backpack. and
I'm
all
not
shiny.
exactly a rain cover connoisseur, but all the ones that I see are just black. That's cool that it has a graphic on it.
Yeah, and it's reflective. So the idea is that it'll be
makes sense.
safer at night, because it's something we didn't think of when we did the original design for the backpack. And so, hey, at least if you're going to be out riding with it, well, hey, maybe you'll put a rain cover on, and then at least we'll have something reflective for it.
Yeah, cool.
I have no idea how much it'll cost. I don't know. It'll cost however much it costs. I mean, realistically, most of our products are just cost times some percentage that kind of makes sense. Like it's not, but we're not really like that. We have some that we make like an outsized margin percentage on, but generally speaking, that's just the lower cost items, where a big part of the cost is not the COGS, the cost of goods sold. It's like the handling costs, and just the overhead involved in performing a transaction. Like if we had something that cost 30 cents and we marked it up 100 points, I can't sell something for 60 cents because I can't even cover what it costs for someone to put it in a warehouse and then go get it from a warehouse and then put it in a box and to send it to you. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Whereas for something that costs $10, yeah, we might charge $20 for it. Because we can absorb those costs much more easily. So it varies a little bit depending on the actual like base cost of the item. But
I
so it'll be.
I think some people are going to misunderstand that because you didn't specify COGS every time. It was just COGS, and you said cost sometimes.
Oh, cost is COGS. Yeah, COGS is cost.
So when he's talking about cost, he just means of the components that go into the thing.
Yeah.
But then it has to be shipped. The people that put it in the box, there's a handling fee every single time they do that. For every single individual item.
Like that's a fee that is charged to us by a third-party company. It's not just like a number I pulled out of my butt. Like it's a real fee.
And then there's other things the whole way along, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah.
All right. Oh, sponsors. Hey, the show is brought to you today by Ridge Hennessy. Are you obsessed with being inefficient in every way possible? No? Okay, then why are you walking around with that behemoth of a bifold wallet in your pocket? Get rid of Get rid of your bulky wallet and meet the Ridge. They redefined the traditional wallet with compact and stylish designs. Ridge wallets can hold up to 12 cards plus room for cash with either a money clip or an elastic band. They have over 30 color and style variations, so there's something for every taste. And the Ridge and Hennessy Performance are teaming up again for Ridge's third annual summer sweepstakes. You can win some amazing prizes like a Hennessy Ford Bronco or $75,000 in cash. No purchase is necessary, but you do get a bonus entry for every dollar spent, or you can get up to 1,000 bonus entries for every dollar spent on custom Hennessy products. Just head over to the website to secure yourself some sleek wallets and fancy key cases, and who knows, maybe end up in a Hennessy Ford Bronco Velociraptor in the process. Check them out at the link below for 10 bonus entries into the sweepstakes, and, to get some cool stuff. Ooh, like that. The show is also brought to you by Secretlab. I have been in the hot seat for a while. Dennis wrote this, I can tell. And trust me, there are better seats to be in, like our sponsor, Secretlab's gaming chairs. Secretlab's Titan Evo Series gaming chair, which we are sitting on right now, by the way, offers 4-way lumbar support, a magnetic memory foam head pillow, and is offered in different upholsteries like hybrid leatherette, soft weave fabric, and Napa leather. They're designed using the science of ergonomics to provide unrivaled comfort and support so you can game, work, or relax in style. The only but on your mind will now be how comfortable your butt is sitting on one of these chairs. Plus, they offer a 5-year extended warranty and 49-day return policy, so they have your back in more ways than one. Just head to the link in the description to check out Secretlab today. Finally, the show is brought to you by Redmagic. Have you ever been bored at work and just wanted to game on your phone? Okay, well, as an employer, I would ask you maybe not to do that, but as a professional slacker at work, Dennis recommends the Redmagic 8S Pro.
Oh.
Wow. Redmagic has positioned themselves as a leader in the mobile gaming space with blisteringly fast, gamer-centric phones like their latest Redmagic 8S Pro. Featuring a top-of-the-line Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip, a 120Hz refresh rate display, a 6.8-inch AMOLED screen, and a 6,000 mAh battery. According to Redmagic Labs, during a 2-hour game, the frame rate remains stable at 59.9 FPS and, 49.7-degree maximum temps. Plus, with the 8S Pro, you get some unique features, like the upgraded ICE 12.0 cooling system and a pair of 520Hz polling rate shoulder triggers. Check out the Redmagic 8S Pro at the link below and become a pro gamer at work with Dennis. What even is that? What am I even looking at? What is that hat?
He's laughing. I think he's laughing.
He's laughing.
I think that's why the head's shaking, is he's laughing.
Okay, sure. Why not?
I play video games.
Anywho, what do you want to talk? Oh, we're supposed to do 3 merch messages. Okay, thanks, Dan.
Welcome.
Hit us.
Sure. Cleo Abrams predicts tech advancements if sustainable, high-scale energy production, like nuclear power, is widespread. What do you think will be the biggest change to our lives with unlimited power?
I won't feel bad for leaving my computer on all the time. I don't know. I mean, I gotta say, I'm sorry, people who live in places where power is very expensive or environmentally impactful. Here in BC...
Wait, you don't even sleep it?
No.
Why?
Well, how will I remote into it?
You can wake it.
Yeah, but it's not reliable.
That's probably true.
Like, I don't know, man.
Sleep isn't reliable in general. My computer just doesn't sleep now.
Yeah.
I might as well call it restart. We talked about this in the recent thing.
Yeah.
So you'll hear us talk about that soon. But yeah, my computer just it's like a delayed restart.
Yeah.
If I set it to sleep, it'll restart in 2 or 3 hours.
I don't know what to tell you. Like so we live in British Columbia, Canada, where all of our power comes from falling water. And you can talk about the environmental impact of hydroelectric power all you want, but the reality of it is those dams are already there. The power that they generate is just there, and you can either use it or you can lose it. And so it's cheap. It's cheap. It's plentiful. We don't, I think, for the most part, really think about power consumption that much.
Honestly, not a ton. A little bit.
Now, there are energy costs here that are higher than other parts of the world. Like whenever I hear Americans complaining about their gas prices, I kind of go,
Hey, by the way,
Yeah.
ours only look low because they're in liters.
Yeah, which is
Not
1/4 of a gallon,
Yeah.
okay? We pay a lot for fuel, which is one of the reasons I learned this recently, actually. Apparently, Vancouver is the Tesla ownership capital of, if not the world, North America. And I would have thought, well, California, right? Trendy, blah, 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 conscious or whatever. Yeah, but electricity is really expensive in California. Electricity costs freaking nothing here. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that for me, personally, it wouldn't change anything because power literally runs out of the taps like water. But in terms of like globally, I would expect to see more widespread use, for example, of things like climate control. Like I would expect that to become more affordable for people. I would expect even more of a push towards the data center. Like one of the biggest costs of running a data center is power. So I would expect to see even more investments in data centers. I would expect to see more experiences that are data center focused. I mean, I've been talking about how I think the data center could change gaming for a long time. Like just massively, much more massively multiplayer worlds could be achieved by having everything clustered in one place and everybody else remoting into it and just getting their video feeds.
Here's a weird negative take.
Yeah, sure.
I think light pollution would get really bad.
Oh, people just don't bother turning off.
Even LEDs last for freaking forever. So
sort of. So there's a whole thing. I think okay, I'm gonna get a lot wrong because this is a rabbit hole I went down a while ago. But my understanding is that was a big part of the sales pitch for LEDs, and I don't mean LEDs in general. What you said is not false, but LED light bulbs like that screw into a socket. What I've heard is that much like traditional light bulbs, while the technology is inherently more reliable, it's kind of been engineered to not be that reliable.
Gotcha. Yeah, because like super OG light bulbs, like filament light bulbs, would also just last for incredible amounts of time.
And then they were engineered to be worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, my understanding is LEDs are not designed properly to last, but in theory, yeah, what you're saying is correct. You could have bulbs that are just just like on all the time. Who cares? But then people want to sleep, right? Like, then again, you see a lot of. You
want to be able to see the stars and like go hiking and not be like, wow, it's glowing. Like,
well, no, I just meant people are going to want to sleep, so they might turn off the lights in their house. But then it occurred to me that a lot of modern architecture has a lot of lighting on the outside of buildings. Like every new house listing you look at,
fancy,
it's like
this is supposed to be a farm, but they found some loophole to make it so they can just build their giant mansion on it and not farm at all. All those that have like 10 million lights all along the roofing are in the entire perimeter of the house. It's like, oh my God, okay. It's not a spaceship taking off. It's a house. You can relax. I don't know.
Okay, up next. Would you go back to living without technology if drivers became a monthly subscription without a buy it for life option?
Would you?
This is a weird question.
So
would you go back to living without technology?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, if your computer just stops working if you don't pay for it.
You want to use USB?
No.
Subscription.
Yeah, no, I would probably pay. Like, what am I?
Ultimately, yeah.
And that's
some people are going to pay, and then those people are just going to have such a significant leg up.
Yeah, and the thing too is that like you got to remember, for me, technology is not just recreational, right? Like that's how I make my living.
Your job, me too.
And so it's kind of like the way that I complain about.
Yeah, Trent and Floatplane chat. I would pirate the drivers. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean,
let's go.
Unless the inconvenience of pirating the drivers and the reliability of pirating the drivers
Linux
makes
would
it
take off
so much worse, then remember too, Linux is not the problem here though. We're not talking about Microsoft here. We're talking about hardware manufacturers. We're talking about hardware drivers. So that's not even the solution, unfortunately.
Linux has a lot of generic drivers for things.
That's true, but if all of a sudden hardware manufacturers started charging I don't know, Linux Foundation, someone.
They find some way.
Yeah, if they find some way to DRM it, then, remember, guys, this is a hypothetical scenario. It's a scenario.
We also assume that piracy or Linux doesn't solve it.
Yeah, we're trying to, in good faith, answer the actual question. And the answer is, just like Adobe. I'd complain about it. I'd be upset.
But people keep using Premiere
But
and Photoshop and everything else.
I'd keep buying it. But
The second it touches work things, stuff gets interesting.
yeah, because
vote for your mouse.
I do think that could be the thing. If that happened, which I don't actually think it's going to, but if that happened, I think that would be the thing that would finally usher in the year of the Linux desktop.
the year of the Linux desktop. Can you meme slightly harder? I mean, you're already wearing that shirt, and you're gonna year of the Linux desktop meme on me.
I actually really like it.
I know, it's awesome.
It's pretty great.
You know what? I'm not going to say which of the designers who worked on it because I don't want to single anybody out, but somebody expressed to me that they weren't that confident in their work on it. And
I think the design is great.
I was basically like, nah, man, you good.
I don't know how well
I
it's
think
going
it's
to
great.
sell, but I don't think that's because the design isn't. I don't know.
I mean, I can find out for you. Doesn't take that long.
It's in reference to such a niche thing. Okay. Some people are buying them.
I don't make the rules, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, Dan, hit us again.
Sure thing. Hi, I always wanted to know how you decide what tier of car to review. For example, the difference between a Platinum F-150 Lightning and Standard is almost twice the price and different specs.
You know what? We run into the same challenge with just about everything. Laptops are another perfect example of this. You can configure the same laptop and have completely different characteristics for the final machine in terms of everything from performance to battery life and of course to price. I mean, look at a MacBook. It can be configured anywhere from, a couple grand to $6,000 depending on what kind of storage options you put in them. And unlike a MacBook, a PC laptop can have a much more bigger difference in terms of performance at all of those different price tiers because the configuration options are so much more granular. I mean, on a MacBook, a lot of that price at the top tier option is going to be because you stuffed it full of SSDs. That's not something that impacts the average user's daily experience. It's just how much of a digital pack rat you can be, right? It doesn't matter that much. But on a lot of machines, yeah, it's extremely challenging.
Even stuff like Kingpin cards back in the day.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's like, oh, is this even the same thing?
Is this a 980? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who even draws the line at what is one thing versus what is a completely different thing? So when it comes to things like cars, a lot of the time, realistically, we're kind of at the mercy of what the manufacturer has in their demo, in their press car stable. And so for something like the Taycan, so that was a car that was that the first car review no, the first one was the Volt. And that was just because that was the one I bought. And the reason I bought that particular trim level was because I bought it secondhand and that was the one that was a good deal. And then with the Taycan, that blue one was the one that was in the Porsche press car pool. And then what's funny is I actually ended up having the kind of problem that I guess you're sort of trying to highlight here, because I went and I purchased a Taycan based on my experiences with it. I didn't bother to test drive exactly the model that I was buying, and I didn't realize, just didn't really think about it. I was like, oh yeah, it's like a Taycan, but more betterer. It's one of the higher tier ones. I didn't realize it weighs another 600 pounds or something because it's got more motors in it.
Yeah.
And I obviously, if I thought about it for 20 seconds, I probably would have thought, oh, yeah, maybe they didn't have anywhere else that they could shed more weight to put these extra motors in. But then, maybe I would have assumed, oh, I don't know, maybe it's has more carbon fiber in it or whatever, and they balance it out that way. But no, it's just heavier. And so what I realized is that while it's really quick off the line, and it really is, around corners, it's a bit floatier. And sometimes I actually missed the regular, I think it was a 4S or the base model. I can't remember which exact one it was that I did the review on, but I actually missed that one because it wasn't a light car by any stretch. I mean, no electric car is going to be agile the way that an ICE car might be, but sometimes I missed the at least somewhat agiler agility of that lighter car. So no, yeah, it's a huge problem. Same with the GR Corolla. Like it was what Toyota had. Now, a lot of the time, those press cars are the one that sells.
Yeah.
And that's for two reasons. One is that's what they want reviewers looking at, because realistically, like, they've done all the market research. They've done all the development. They know what configuration of the car is a good one. They know which one they're going to make a bunch of. So that's what they want people looking at, so that it's representative, except when they don't, right? And then number two is a lot of the time those press cars, I mean, they don't get shredded unless they go to MrBeast, I guess. He shredded a Lamborghini. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
The point is, like, they don't just get crushed, right? So someone's going to buy it at some point. So it might as well be something that is easy to get rid of, something liquid. But as I alluded to before, that's not necessarily always the case. Sometimes they might equip something with really nice options. In particular, you could see this on things like sound systems that might not change the handling of the car at all, but do change the experience and comfort. And because a car is so emotional, it is such an emotional product compared to something like a graphics card, which you can objectively measure the goodness of in every way. A car is just so subjective. And so, I could see that as a way that they could try to...
There's a ton of reasons why I really like my car. And if you took it away and gave me an almost identical car, even like same model and everything, I would not like it as much.
And so that can introduce a lot of subjective bias, or a lot of like subconscious bias is what I meant to say. If they make sure all the press cars have the like $700, nicer seat option or something like that, even though they know most people aren't going to spring for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. I think the answer is, when we have a choice, what we try to go for is the one that makes sense. And this is actually part of what inspired that video that we did on how starting at is the biggest lie in tech. Because the starting at configuration of a computer is almost always a crappy configuration that is intentionally one that is kneecapped in some way so that people will buy the next one, right? Like, it's never the one they actually want you to buy.
Yeah.
And it was a conversation that we were having around how challenging it is to talk about pricing for laptops, because on the one hand, it is honest, it is truthful, it is factual to say this machine starts at $11.99 or whatever the case may be, but it is not representative if you know that the configuration that makes any sense is more like $1,500. So generally speaking, what we would like to do is we would like to review the configuration that we think makes sense. The problem is you can get it wrong. What if the configuration that we think makes sense, because it's only another $100 for the Core i7, doesn't make any sense because the thermal solution can't handle the extra heat output from the Core i7 and it ends up throttling to the performance of the Core i5 anyway? That's a very real problem in laptops. So we don't have a perfect answer. In a perfect world, we'd love to just test every single configuration, and then we can tell you which one's the best one.
Yeah.
We had the ambitious goal of doing that once with the M1 MacBook. We actually bought them all. We bought like 20 of them. And then, long story short, we just didn't have the testing capacity, and they ended up getting distributed for internal use. Thankfully, we have a lot of Mac users now, so it wasn't a complete waste.
Yeah.
But got them.
And I got one more for you here.
Yeah.
Hi, part of the 1% of the viewer audience here got recommended to only WAN Show at first a few years ago due to all the podcasts I watch. What part of the YouTube algorithm keeps on surprising you?
Live VODs, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not just WAN Show. The way that just random, like 3-hour videos of me building a computer will get 3, 4, 5 million views. Whereas if we had actually put in the work to cut that down to a digestible length, it would get a fraction of that. I can't fathom it. And I can tell you guys, I do know that the algorithmic system that recommends VODs of previously live content is separate from regular VODs, which is separate from shorts. They are separate, but related. So I can tell you that for sure, and it never ceases to surprise me.
It seems weird to me because myself as a viewer, the amount of times that I'm going to want to go watch a VOD of a previously ran live stream is honestly very low.
No, but it just autoplays. Like I've seen it's anecdotal, right? It's not perfect evidence, but I've seen lots of people,
and then the watch time is fat,
who are like, yeah, I fell asleep watching LTT, and like 3 times this week, and every single time when I woke up, it was that I love building computers stream. Like that is a thing.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, man, people are actually talking about it in Floatplane chat right now. Yes. People leave VODs on while going to sleep. Yeah, 100%.
I guess, do you guys want any pizza? Or should we save it for later?
Oh, what kind of pizza is it?
I don't know. I'll look.
Why don't we save it for after dark?
Save it for after dark.
All right.
Okay.
Couple more topics, Luke. What do you want to talk about? I kind of want to talk about Rockstar selling pirated copies of their own games.
I was going to say the same thing.
That's pretty funny.
Rockstar has been caught selling cracked versions of their own games on Steam again. Developer Silent found a tag for Razor 1911, a Norwegian software cracking group, while looking through the hex codes for Midnight Club 2, which was delisted from Steam in 2018. According to information by Vadim M and Firehead, so hopefully I said those right. Well, Firehead, I'm pretty sure, but yeah, anyways. This isn't the first time that Rockstar has been caught reselling pirated versions of their own games. Manhunt was first released on Steam in 2008, but for unclear reasons it was unable to run on Windows Vista, despite the fact that the original disc copy could. However, a fix could be implemented by changing a single value in its code, the same fix that would allow the cracked version of the game created by Razor 1911 to work on Vista. Oops. Interesting. In 2010, a user found that the Steam version of Max Payne 2 contained the logo of Ware's Group Myth in its code, which was removed a few days later, unsurprisingly. This was followed by an update to Manhunt, which utterly broke the game. This is likely because Rockstar replaced the cracked file with its own copy, which had been rendered unplayable due to anti-piracy measures put in place by Rockstar during development. Very cool. The games were originally sold with DRM copy protections and required a matching disc in the drive in order to run.
That was for the kids out there. That was a common thing.
That was very common, yep. But Rockstar also added additional booby traps meant to make the experience of playing a cracked copy miserable. In Manhunt, these included locking nearly every door in the game, crashing whenever the player acquires a health pickup, and disabling the mouse and keyboard if a player manages to get 5 headshots. These booby traps were quickly subverted. That is pretty funny. And the cracked version was released only 3 days after the official launch. I remember there was certain games where you could load the game with the game in your optical drive, and then if you were out of LAN, you could just eject it after the game was open and pass it to your buddy.
Yeah.
You could. Anyways, when Rockstar removed the copy protections, they failed to remove the booby traps that were set off. No way. By the absence of these copy protections, meaning that legitimate buyers over the last 13 years have been sold a broken game. However, the old executable remains in the Steam folder. Really? Simply renamed testapp.exe, its hex codes also contain tags from Razor 1911. Most community patches to allow the Steam version of Manhunt to run still use this test app executable as a base rather than try to fix Rockstar's own version.
I don't even think there's anything else to say here other than
that's hilarious.
LOL.
Man, okay, Razor 1911 doing work, allowing people to keep playing Rockstar games.
There is something to talk about. Okay, so clearly, Razor 1911 is subverting, piracy protections on copyrighted software.
You can say what you want about people enabling piracy stuff, but that doesn't
Rockstar
mean
still.
Yes.
Is stealing their copyrighted code. Do 2 wrongs make a right?
No. So what Rockstar's doing is still wrong. Yeah. I think it would be hilarious if Rockstar had to pay Razer.
Well, Razer would have to reveal who they are.
Yeah, that would be kind of. Maybe they just have to send like Bitcoin to some mysterious address.
It's kind of like how you assume that your drug dealer's not going to call the cops when you don't pay them.
Right.
Yeah. They'll find a solution, but.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Very funny. I doubt anything's going to come of this because of basically what we just said.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, that's brutal, and they should stop doing that.
Ken K says, but two rights make an airplane.
That's pretty good. I don't think I've heard that one before.
Yeah, Dan's not there to ding the thing. In another small aside before we move on to our next topic here, or not another, in a small aside, we need some help. We're working on a video on 3D movie projection, passive 3D movie projection, and we are hoping that someone in our audience has some experience with passive 3D setups and could maybe give us a hand. We have a balled out Stuart 3D screen coming in, but we've had some trouble acquiring appropriate filters, glasses, and I think we could probably find a projector. But if you have some recommendations, it turns out that the LS12000 that I've been using in my theater now, because of something laser, something, it doesn't work for 3D. So please get in touch via our website contact form, which is at linusmediagroup.com/contact-us, or email info@linusmediagroup.com. If you work in that industry, what's left of it, or if you have any, old gear that you don't need anymore that we could borrow from you or buy off you or whatever the case may be. We're particularly interested in like a quality setup. So not acrylic filters, glass filters, if possible. I've got a whole series of videos that I want to do around it. I want to get some, I basically want to get 3D movies running, but I also found out that there are 2D to stereo 3D converters that you can just run modern games with. And I want to play around with that as well. I also want to set up like a retro setup. So go back to like GTX 280 or 480, whatever the last, no, 580 still did 680, whatever the last driver and last generation of hardware that supported 3D vision was. Build like the bangingest.
The 580 still did?
I believe so. The bangingest NVIDIA 3D vision setup.
I know 480s did.
Hold on, last driver to support NVIDIA 3D vision. So I had kind of like three video ideas in mind for it. Okay, here we go. Turing.
Apparently the 580 did.
Turing supports it. The last driver that got it was Windows 10 64-bit standard 425.31. Man, this is something that makes me really sad. Okay? 3D vision is going to be one of those forgotten, irretrievable gaming techs. You know why? Because by the time Windows 10 rolled around, people weren't buying physical copies of games. And if they were running through Steam or something. So what's going to happen is Valve is going to drop support for Windows 10 someday, not immediately, but someday. And even if you have a machine, even if you have the 3D hardware, even if you have copies of the games that technically do support it, you won't be playing it unless you pirate.
I don't think that's I think we should care, so I almost don't even want to make this point because I've always been very rah physical games for this exact reason, stuff like that. But a lot of those games are able to be ran through executables from the folder. So if you had a backup, you're fine.
But what if it's a DRM issue?
Yeah.
You want to play Batman Arkham Asylum Game of the Year?
Then you're screwed.
It's a Steam game.
Yep.
That's it. That's all.
RIP.
In fact, I'm trying to think. I had a copy of not Game of the Year, and there was a whole thing
It's going to be interesting
with
because
Games for Windows Live.
Oh, yeah.
So Batman Arkham Asylum was a Games for Windows Live thing. So when Games for Windows Live went away, everyone who had a copy on Games for Windows Live got a Steam copy. So it is possible that that game, which was a 3D Vision title, simply doesn't exist outside of Steam.
Imagine trying to go back to this era that we're in right now. Say it's 25 years from now.
Yeah.
And you want to go back and play Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if that's a good example, but some game that came out recently.
Sure. Diablo 4.
The likeliness you won't. Oh, Diablo 4, you definitely won't be able to play because it's effectively like a weird form of an MMO. Like there's a lot of go back and try to play Fortnite in 25 years. It's like I'd argue that was the biggest game of the last like X amount of time.
Oh yeah, and I mean even today, if you want to play Fortnite as it was 5 years ago, you can't.
Minecraft
can't do that.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. This is great. That last 3D Vision supporting driver, RTX 2080 Ti. I am going to play Arkham Asylum in stereo 3D like I could have never imagined it when it came out. Yeah, no, I'm like super stoked.
What?
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so I've got like a whole series of videos planned. So if cool. we have had some trouble.
Is that a rare NVIDIA W? Like, do we have to give it to them on that? That's a long support window for something that people were not really using.
Yeah. NVIDIA's software support. Love or hate NVIDIA, and they do make mistakes even on the software side. They've got like outstanding bugs that have been sitting there forever that should have been dealt with like any company. Their driver control panel looks like it's from 15 years ago. Like they've got their issues. But in terms of hardware product support, man, how long has the NVIDIA Shield had support? I mean, it's still an active product.
Top Gear mentioned PhysX is still supported, like, for example, in Mafia 2.
Yep. Yeah, 100%, man.
We'll give them that.
Yep. So you gotta give them credit where it's due, because otherwise, when you criticize them, people can't take it seriously, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The newsletter. Oh no, I haven't mentioned the newsletter. We have an awesome. We haven't really done many newsletter updates for LTTStore lately, but we have a really cool one going out that you guys are going to want to make sure that you are signed up for. Oh, really? They don't give me any teasers in here or anything? Well, whatever. I read it. It's all about what we've learned about injection molding in plastics as we've explored different colors for the screwdriver and lead up to LTX and
cool.
in some of the upcoming products. So it gets into like the fine details of how the coloring is done and what that affects, and hot pressing versus cold pressing the ratchet assemblies into the handles, and we've got like a it's not, sorry, I was going to say like a blown up version, but it's not blown up. It's like a cross section. So the team ripped one out, created a cross section of it, and they show like a cold press versus a hot press to show how our initial assumptions about hot press being better were actually not correct. It turns out that they both kind of eat into the handle in the same way, it turns out. Yeah, really, really cool update. So you can sign up for the newsletter. Sorry? You should have teasers in your emails. I'm over it. Oh. Okay, fine. If it's on my WAN Show email, then
but
I'll
it's a
look at
newsletter, right? Couldn't we just go look at it on the store?
I don't think it's up yet. I think it's going out this weekend or something like that.
I'm pretty sure it's up.
Okay, yeah, here we go. Linus laptop. Tools. Yeah, it's been a year since the screwdriver launched. So yeah, you can kind of see all that stuff. And are we allowed to use that? You know what? I'm not going to overthink that. This is a whole rabbit hole. This like swirly thing here that's going on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this is a thing that happened.
Oh my.
Yep. Anyway, wow, that hair. Doesn't matter. The point is, really cool newsletter. You can sign up at LTTStore.com.
And that newsletter is on the store.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, you can also go check it out there then. Mozilla report finds that cars are a privacy nightmare. Nobody saw this one coming.
This is wild.
Speaking of things we should have flipped the desk over when it initially started happening, and people have just accepted enough that it's happening. According to a Mozilla Foundation report on 25 car brands, which, like, how many car brands are there?
I was going to say, that is actually a very substantial amount of car brands.
Cars are the worst product category they have ever reviewed for privacy. Every single brand failed to meet Mozilla's minimum privacy standards and collected excessive amounts of personal information, including photos, calendar information, location, driving speed, musical tastes, race, immigration status, and medical information. Both Kia and Nissan permit the collection of data regarding a user's sex life, and 6 car companies permit the collection of genetic information or genetic characteristics. 84% of the car brands share personal user data with service providers and data brokers. 76% claim the right to sell the information, and 56% are willing to share user information with the government and or law enforcement if requested. Tesla, surprise, surprise, was the worst ranked company in the survey and failed every single one of Mozilla's privacy criteria.
You know what's crazy? You know what is squeaky clean on this list?
Acura?
My car.
Really?
Not the brand, but my car.
Yeah, it doesn't have like smart anything, I don't think. Right?
Nope.
Yeah. You won't even pay for a map update.
Nope.
And rightly, you shouldn't. That is so stupid.
It is very dumb. It's like hundreds of dollars, just in case anyone's
It's
wondering.
like $400.
It's really
stupid. Like that.
stupid.
Yeah, it's not like $200s. It's a lot.
I don't remember how much it is, but it's a lot.
Mozilla also says that it could not confirm that any automaker met its minimum security standards regarding data encryption and protection against theft, and that car companies provided less detailed security information about their products than most dating apps and sex toy manufacturers. Mozilla said that it is typical advice to help consumers protect their personal data. It's the wrong it's. Doesn't matter. Minor details. Said that their typical advice to help consumers protect their personal data feels inadequate given the circumstances, and that they have started a petition demanding car companies halt their current data protection programs. Discussion question. What should users do when there is no reasonable way to opt out of a highly invasive product within a given market? How has the automotive industry become this kind of a wild west with respect to privacy?
It's been pretty wild. This is a very small but legitimate reason why I haven't wanted to upgrade my car, and I'm not kidding. And I've mentioned this before. I actually like that my car is dumb. I don't know. There's certain things about smartifying a car that like bother me and always have.
DMAC asks, how does a car know about your sex life? Well, let me tell you.
It knows
when
where
you
you're
don't
driving.
own a house yet.
It knows what time. Well, that too, to be honest. But it also knows where you're driving and at what time, and for how long you're there.
Your car knows a lot, man.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. This is great from Trent R in Floatplane chat. Is it just a matter of like the first politician, like getting their mistress outed by a smart car or something, and then like all of a sudden this starts changing, or like what's gonna be the tipping point for this where it goes the other way? I don't know. Oh man. Yeah, XFN 724. This is a really good point. I think this is the second comment I've had from you this show. I drove a 91 car until 2021 when they wouldn't renew the inspection on it. So that's less of an issue here, where you can not only drive ancient cars, but you even get cheaper insurance. You can get collector's plates and stuff.
They ditched it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a, what was it?
Air care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even then there were like exemptions for like collectors.
And there was
stuff.
Very easy ways to get around it.
Yeah, it was the whole thing, which is why they ditched it. But in a lot of places, it's not even how harmful the emissions are or anything like that. In a lot of places, it's as simple as, oh, your car's older than that. We will not even try to inspect it. And basically that car just gets put on a ship and sent somewhere else where it will continue to emission however it was here. I don't really understand what problem you think you're solving. And then you just like have to buy a new one. It's that simple. Like I noticed this when I was in Germany. I was like, and Singapore too. There's no old cars on the road. What the heck? In Singapore, it was explained to me that the lottery system for even getting a license to drive is so expensive to like corruptly bribe your way to winning all the time that basically the only people who can afford to drive a car are the ones who can afford to drive a nice car. That was the way it was explained to me by someone from Singapore. I have no idea if it's still the case. That was a long time ago, and who knows, maybe they were misinformed. But in Germany, my understanding is that they simply do not they do not allow you to drive a super old car. So guys, please let me know. if I am mistaken. Oh, I thought you didn't tell people what car you drive.
No, I do. It's
Oh.
been in Scrapyard Wars and stuff. People know.
Oh, I've always avoided it.
Oh, no.
All right. Cool.
It's been on camera like a bunch of times. There's even, if you remember, I watched this recently because someone was asking who Nick Van Berkel was, a random conversation. But I brought up Channel Superfun and saw when we pranked, I think it was us pranking Berkel, that the office got broken into or whatever.
Nice.
Or wait, no. It was us pranking you for something. That your car didn't work.
Oh,
And
yeah. It was
I
when
offered
you
to,
guys said that my flight got moved. My flight time got moved.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
offered to drive you. And my car's like in that video, and that was back then. So it's been around forever.
Yeah, there are some questions that I sort of have about this. My understanding of Germany is wrong. In fact, you don't pay taxes for your car once it becomes an old timer. Okay, then maybe it's just a cultural thing. I do know that there are countries where, they basically just, I mean, the person who left this comment lives in one of them, clearly, where old cars, they simply won't renew your inspection for the most part. Maybe with Germany, it's just more of just like a culture thing. Okay, no, hold on a second. As a German, most cars are killed by TUV-FUR, I don't know what that is, safety roadworthiness, not general too old. So it's that the regulations change and that car is no longer considered roadworthy. Okay, I knew there was something. Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah, very, very interesting. What else we got here? Oh, the video game voice actors are considering a strike.
Yeah, the actors union SAG-AFTRA has decided to hold a general vote on whether to authorize, that's pretty key here, a strike against video game companies. This doesn't necessarily mean that a strike will happen, just that if the vote is successful, they will have the authority to call a strike when/if negotiations fail. The union is seeking similar terms to what they asked of TV and film companies, like an 11% wage increase and protections from AI. The last time video game voice actors held a strike was in October of 2016, which lasted 340 days. The eventual agreement included a new bonus system and increased transparency during the hiring process, so that actors would know at least the genre of the game and whether their work would include profanity, slurs, sexual or violent themes, or physical stunts.
What the heck?
What?
For a voice actor?
Okay. The agreement did not guarantee residuals, a key point of contention. Reportedly, a stalemate has already been reached in negotiations with... surprisingly, Activision and Take-Two. Discussion question: what is the best way to help voice actors? What is the advantage/disadvantage of having multiple sectors striking at once?
Man.
It might bring more attention to it as an advantage. I don't think there's a bunch other than that, though, to be honest.
And I don't think that for outside of a very vocal minority of really supportive gaming fans, I don't think that most will care. I think that they will just want their games.
I mean, we've seen that. I'd love to say otherwise, but we just talked about horse armor earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Like this isn't just true for gamers. If I'm being completely honest, this feels true for basically everything. Wait, what? Really? One sec. Sorry. No, it's still up. Okay. But like, people will have stances on things, and then the second that those stances get challenged, if it inconveniences them, is less entertaining, or costs them any amount of money, it's decently common that those stances will then be ditched.
Apparently, a lot of voice actors do mocap as well. I just would have assumed someone else did the mocap.
I had no idea. It kind of makes sense.
I mean, I could definitely see if
You're
someone's
tying together-
multi-talented or whatever, they might as well, but they don't
You're tying
necessarily.
together the emotion of what you're saying with physical actions and your face and your... Oh, that's probably it. I bet you it's a bunch of facial movement stuff.
Well, that wouldn't be a stunt, but like it could be tied into the whole capture. Yeah, it makes sense. Hold on, one quick thing. Someone in Twitch chat. It's not changing regulations in Germany. It's just not worth repairing a car if it fails the TUV. Okay. All right. Good to know.
Modifying or updating or whatever else.
Thank you for the clarification. That's great. It doesn't change the point that some people will not have the option.
You're discussing policy with Germans. They're going to be specific.
Also, apparently part of what I said was right, and in some city centers, bans based on emissions do exist.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm not completely wrong. I'm just German wrong. Right. So back to the voice actor strike. So here's my concern, and we've talked about this a little bit, even though it's not really, related to our industry being in YouTube. We have talked a little bit about SAG-AFTRA and about the Writers Guild strike, and what I have expressed before and what I'm going to express again is I think it's too late. I think it's too late for them to stop the AI onslaught, because that's what all three of these have as at least one of their central
protections from AI
themes is protections against AI and protection for that. There will be, in particular, the Writers Guild wants protections against just stuffing them in a room to, turn some AI horseplop into something palatable with a tiny team and then never even be on set so that there's no career advancement. That's what they're trying to prevent. And ultimately, I don't think any of the studios are interested in their career growth. They see the whole thing as transactional. And I think that now that the power of AI has been demonstrated, I think once ChatGPT 3 broke ground, the horse was out of the barn. I think they saw, we are this close. And maybe their perception is actually wrong. We've seen a lot of problems with large language models in their current form. They're not perfect. But I think to let's face it, probably a pretty technologically normie person who might work as an executive at a film studio, it seems pretty great. And if they're looking at it going, okay, well, assuming explosive development in this area, like we see in tech, if they're just extrapolating based on what they've seen before, then it seems like we're so close that we can just twiddle our thumbs for a little bit here, not negotiate anything, and this problem will solve itself one way or the other, either with these people starving themselves to the point where they come crawling back for work, or to the point where we just replace them with machines. Okay, I'll just wait.
If the latter happens, movies are going to suck even more than they do now.
I know, right?
I will say there was some recent good ones. I haven't seen Oppenheimer, but I've heard it's good, and Barbie was great. But for years now, movies have been kind of not awesome, in my opinion.
I'm scared for the video game voice actors' chances here. And just like I've said about the Writers Guild and to a lesser degree the Actors Guild, I think that I think they have leverage. They have the star power at least. But I think that I in the same way that I've expressed concern about the Writers Guild, I just feel like the video game voice actors are going to come in hot. They're going to maybe feel good about their chances. And I think what they're going to find out is they have absolutely zero negotiating leverage. I don't know, man. I think that developers will just kind of go, okay, forget it then, and they will pivot to technological tools, and gamers will be enraged, and then they will buy the game anyway.
Would you wager
Yeah.
that there are more gaming studios than there are? What do you call?
I'm going to stop you here because I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many indie for both that I would have no idea how to compare the numbers.
Because I feel like people are talking in chat right now about how, how I mentioned, it's for facial animations. And you're like, yeah, but they said stunts, so it's more than that. BG3, Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned that, and this makes sense because they're really good. But they mentioned that the voice actors did mocap while they were talking. And the facial animations while people are talking are very good, so it makes sense.
Right.
So I wonder if a game like BG3, where like all the lines are voice acted and they have this mocap on faces, and it's a really good immersion quality, beneficial part of the game. I wonder if certain studios will just opt to work with the new terms of the voice actors guild or alliance, or
I'm not sure which actual... Oh, no. Okay, apparently SAG-AFTRA is also the union of the video game voice actors. I'm based on what I'm reading here. I don't actually know. I didn't know what union they were part of.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, I wonder if some studios will decide to work with them anyways because they're like, this is going to be a quality differentiator for us.
Maybe.
That's honestly going to take a very long time for AI to catch up with properly.
Yeah, you're probably right. But I also do wonder if in the same way that television studios just pivoted to reality TV and found out that people will just consume whatever dreck they give them, I wonder if a lot of them will just not care.
Yeah.
As someone who actually doesn't really care about voice acting in games, I prefer to read, and I actually find it really distracting. One of the things that I like to do is I change the voice track to like Japanese or something, because I find it way less distracting to have, because I'll advance the text as fast as I can read it, which is at like probably about 6 to 8 times the speed that they will read the lines. And so I find it a lot less distracting to have words cut off in the middle of them when they're in a language I don't understand. I don't care. But I know a lot of people really like voice acting in games.
I very much appreciate it. Not only do I find it's a big immersion bonus, but also just with my troubles with reading, it like
right.
It's nice. It feels a lot more relaxing to not have to read, and it also just, I can go so much faster because I'm not getting lost in text or whatever else. Minorly dyslexic. Yeah, I don't know.
People do not like my my skipping voice acting.
You're skipping. Oh,
I don't know. I don't like it. It's slow.
It's a personal preference thing.
Yeah, it's just slow.
I don't. I skip it sometimes if I'm not as interested in the conversation. Just spacebar, skip through it. But usually I don't.
Oh well, no, I don't skip reading it. Like I want to know what's happening. I just don't want to. I don't want to hear people say it. Like I forget which Final Fantasy game switched to like full voice acting. Was it 9?
I'm not gonna know.
10? I can't remember, but I hated it. I was like, this sucks. Bring back text. Let's go text. I don't know. And like, oh man, games that don't support
I think most
tapping to completely fill in a text box, like when they're like and you can't speed it up. I want to throw my controller through the TV. I can't. Drives me absolutely crazy.
That's never a problem for me because I can't keep up with it anyways.
Apparently it was 10. Yeah, agreed, Grand Wig. 9 was so good. He has like, never played like any of the good Final Fantasy games. He's played like 8.
Yeah. 8 was great. I really liked it. And then I never played another one.
I made it like 45 minutes into 8. And I was like, this is stupid. And I couldn't. Sorry, I just couldn't. People do like 8. I just, yeah. It's not that I don't have patience. I just don't have time. There's a big difference. Well, there isn't a big difference. They're kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I tell people that I liked 8 and they get so offended because they're like, oh, like 6 or 7 or whatever was so much better, blah, 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 blah. I can't believe you like that one. And I was like, it's the only one I played. I thought it was good. Like, I don't know. What do you want from me? Come on.
Someday.
Squall was awesome. I had the necklace. with the lion with the sword through the top. I had that for a while.
Was it a sword gun or a gun sword?
A gun sword. Gun blade.
I don't care.
To be more specific.
Yeah, it sounds stupid.
Yeah, it was sick.
If you have a gun,
it was awesome.
Why do you need a blade on it? What is this, like the year 1850? Get your musket.
Maybe.
In other AI news, Gizmodo replaced Spanish languages editor with machine. Geo Media,
with machine.
Owners of Gizmodo, have laid off the editorial team of the site's Spanish equivalent, who used to translate articles and write their own original content. The site is not shutting down. Instead, it will be populated with machine-translated articles from the English site. During the transition, I'm sure you guys know that hilarity will ensue. This is very sad for the people who lost their jobs, but it's funny that Geo Media is basically having this turn into a PR disaster immediately. That's the funny part. During the transition, some readers have complained of reading articles that start in Spanish, then switch to English partway through. Here's an example, and I'm about to butcher this, so get ready.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
La empresa no respondió de... Okay, it doesn't matter. The point is, that's probably why the form asks you to give your country of residence. It seems that Meta is granting some people limited rights to... What is this? What the heck?
I really, I don't know. I understand that like GPT-4 and some of these other things are surprisingly good at translation, but I really think there's...
Oh no, Spanish would like a word with you. I don't speak Spanish.
I think especially once you get into the nuances of language and when you get into like advanced levels of writing and people trying to get something across through indirectly referencing something and all these little subtleties that happen in natural language, I find it really hard to believe that AI translation is going to be able to keep up with this super well, especially over time. Like if models are not being retrained and updated with current
and you're
events.
Still going to need people. Like we talked about using AI translation for dubbing for our videos, and even then, like even at our scale, there was no possibility of us not having a human check them. Of course, you're going to have to do that because otherwise you end up with this. In fairness to me, okay, my accent probably wasn't much worse than this translation. I was just reading.
I mean, the translation just quits and starts reading English. So realistically,
that's what I did.
They were pretty similar.
Geo Media has been experimenting with AI-generated articles since at least July, which initially ran without oversight or input from Gizmodo's own writing staff. It is unclear if these algorithmically produced articles will then be subject to machine translation and republished. Oh my goodness, the dog's breakfast you would end up with if you have an AI-generated article that then gets AI translated into Spanish. Oh no. Oh no. All right. Linus with big translated by AI Spanish energy. Heck yeah. Ah.
Next topic.
Yeah. Nah.
Do we even want to talk about that?
Oh yeah. This is cool though. Framework.
Oh yeah.
Investor disclosure. Found some old main boards.
How does this happen?
Well, see,
can you explain?
That's the reason this is in here. Because on the one hand, I think this is super cool. Framework apparently found a load of old completed laptop mainboards while they were shutting down the original factory that was producing the Framework 13 in China. If you guys watched our recent factory tour, you'll know that Framework is now producing their laptops in Taiwan. Framework has decided to process these boards, update their firmware, and make them available to customers. The boards come with Intel Tiger Lake-based Core i5 1135G7 processors and will be available for $200. Less than half the original price. And reminder for those of you who don't know, Framework laptops have motherboards that can easily be run outside of the laptop, which is super cool. These CPUs are based on Gen 12. They have Xe graphics. No, Gen 12. No, they're Gen 11. I don't know what this means, but they have Xe graphics apparently. And they come with 4 CPU cores, 8 threads, and no performance or efficiency cores. They're just cores. So on the one hand, yeah, that's super cool. And actually, if you just needed like a decently powerful and efficient single board computer, essentially, seems like a not terrible idea. On the other hand, again, as an investor, I have some concerns. Framework, what the heck? How did you lose a bunch of motherboards? Guys,
here's the maybe silver lining is they seem to have been doing fine.
Yeah, without them. Maybe you wouldn't have needed my money.
How does this happen?
I mean, okay, look. You ask how this happens, but you literally work at the company that recently experienced some colossal communication issues. So on the one hand, yeah, I'm
all
seeing
right, Framework, you're forgiven. I fully understand. I've experienced a lot worse. Good job. Woo! With that, should we After Dark?
I think it's time for a WAN Show After Dark. Maybe some pizza.
Oh, man. Oh,
It's a good
boy.
thing we're only talking to the people who watch WAN Show for
Hours.
Yeah, I was gonna check how long.
2.5
yeah,
hours.
2.5 hours. You guys get us. Luke with the immediate 180. I did kind of set you up for it though.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Oh boy! All right,
I'm starting at the top of potentials. We've
Dan's
lost
getting
a-
us pizza,
we've
so he
lost-
can't pick.
We've temporarily lost a member of the show. I don't actually
Yeah.
want any pizza. I
That's fine.
appreciate
Hold
that.
on. I'll replace him 1 sec.
I'll replace him. But, oh wow. Oh. Oh. Oh.
That was my big effort. That was as much time as that gag was worth.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ooh, pizza. Do you want some, Luke, or are you still
No,
off pizza?
I'm off.
Yeah, I figured.
I wouldn't like if I know the day before or something.
Yeah.
I can adjust things.
I'm just a pinch check. I'm just a pinch check
Yeah, well,
away from
My pinch
pizza.
check is currently default failing, so that's okay.
Oh.
I'm doing pretty good though. I'm happy with how things are going.
Oh, I'm happy with how things are going. You look good.
Yeah, thank you. Dan's been coming to the gym with me.
What? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it came,
Yeah, it's been awesome.
came all 3 days this week. I'm probably going to be adding a fourth day to the rotation starting this week, but no one wants to do that with me, which is fine.
I'm already losing 3 days of my week.
Yeah,
I have to do some work at some point.
yeah.
You know, I don't usually do dominoes. I'm kind of like
Yeah.
a Panago or like smaller
You should
pizza
try.
place guy.
I'm gonna shout out a local place, and hopefully I don't ruin it that way. But Clayton Gate Pizza is amazing.
What is garlic flavored sauce? Anything called just
Flavored.
there's no ingredients on it.
Oh,
Anything just called sauce. Like, is it a mayo? Is it a am I overthinking this?
Coagulated,
Yeah.
garlic flavored liquid.
People say probably garlic butter, but I don't think so because garlic butter has garlic in it.
It's probably
And-
oil and xanthan gum.
Yeah, they wouldn't. Thanks, Dan.
he's probably right.
I'm looking up the ingredients.
I'm gonna eat it.
Oh man.
All right. Oh, it does. Kind of. I don't know. My other options are marinara and ranch, though. So I'm sorry, I can't eat ranch. Ever since
You're a no ranch kind of person.
yeah, well, I'm not a no ranch kind of person. I ate nothing but ranch dressing on every vegetable or salad for like the first 15 years of my life person, and now I can't even look at it. I'm one of those.
So that's why I say I'm allergic to eggs line, because I don't want to have a conversation about it. So I just say I'm allergic, even though I'm not. I just can't eat them anymore.
That's me in seafood.
yeah.
Because the second you say you don't like seafood people will try to get you to try a
But what
seafood that
about
they're
this
sure that you'll
one?
like.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
just like, I don't feel like talking about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't like seafood. And then what's really funny is people will catch me eating scallops. And they'll be like, I thought you're allergic to seafood. And then I'll have to explain, actually, I lied to you. I am not allergic to seafood. I'm just allergic to seafood that tastes like shit. So
I like seafood.
the problem for me is that I don't like the super oceany taste. And I also don't like playing Russian roulette with my food. So for something like prawns, good prawns that don't have that super like seafoody flavor are delicious.
Oh yeah.
Like so good. But then if I get one that has that like hyper oceany taste, and do you know what I'm talking about with like the oceany taste?
But I don't actually mind it.
I am exactly the same way as you, Linus.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I tell people I don't like fish. It's just the fish taste.
for me,
Yeah.
that oceany taste is an immediate turnoff. And for me,
I definitely like.
pl-
Yeah.
playing like maybe this will be delicious or maybe this will make me want to gag.
It's not worth it.
It's like
See,
it's
I
like
don't.
not
I
worth
don't
it.
get that. Like
Yeah.
so, when I was growing up, for about 2 weeks out of most, for probably about 4 or 5 years there, for 2 weeks out of every one of those years, I would go on a camping trip with my best friend's family, and we would have probably more than half of the food that we had during that camping trip would be pulled from the ocean in some way. Crab traps, shrimping nets or whatever they were, standard fishing off the back of a boat, whatever. We'd eat what we caught, basically. And that sort of temporarily ruined me on seafood, because then any other less fresh seafood was now bad because I had experienced that. But then that faded over time and now it's fine. But I've never minded the oceany taste at all.
We did one family trip down to Port Townsend. I think on that trip alone, I probably ate more mass of seafood than I have in probably the rest of my adult life.
Because it hits a little different. When
All
it's that
we
fresh.
did was put down crab traps, pull up crabs, dip them in butter and eat them like for a week. And and like when it's good, it's so good. So like at a restaurant like Banana Leaf, I'll order the like abundance of seafood dish. And I'll eat basically everything in it. You won't get me to eat a mussel with a gun to my head, but there's like pretty much everything else in it. I'll eat because I know that it's going to be like really good quality. But
mussels are like, those. I had to Google it because I had to see if they were different than clams and oysters. But those are still super seafoody. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like those.
It's also a texture thing for me. It's like eating a slug.
To be clear, I knew they were different, but I wanted to see the picture of it to see exactly which one it was because I didn't fully remember.
I'm also super like texture sensitive. So there's fruits that I won't eat because like the texture bothers me, or they're a big gamble. So I like fruits that I can tell from the outside what they're going to taste like. So I love apples.
Okay.
Grapes, you can tell just by like touching them if they're going to be good. Whereas fruits that you can't tell, so like a pomelo or a pomelo or however you pronounce it, those ones, like I like them enough that I'll try a little taste. But in general, like I won't go out of my way to go peel one because there's a strong probability that it will be bitter or something like that.
I don't think I've ever had one
it's
of
just
these.
not worth it. When they're good, man, are they ever good? Yeah, they're like really delicious.
Cool.
But I don't like stuff that is. I don't like stuff that's a gamble.
I'm not a huge fan of mush or like slimy. Either of those textures will throw me off like hard.
Buy grapes at TNT.
The crunchy ones?
Oh, they're so good.
Those are so good.
They're so good. Autumn crisp grape.
Get some Concord grapes. I got to tell you guys.
Man, I've had
Muscat
ones that
grapes?
are like, they feel like hand fruit. Like you put one grape in your mouth and you're like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Anyways, should we start the messages of merch?
Sure. Yeah,
so.
we got lots of potential. So if you guys want to
I'll start
pop
at the
them
top.
down, go for it.
Yeah.
First off here. Hey, DLL, first LTC store buy plus first merch message. Thanks for inspiring my interest in tech.
Hey.
Do you have any advice for working through decision paralysis? Any breakthrough aha moments you personally had? Thanks. I wanted advice. So
I like lists.
Yeah.
Like, remember I was telling, but this is going to get worse before it gets better. Remember when I read out my list of games that I have on my to play list last week?
Mm-hmm.
And then remember how my brilliant idea for deciding which one to play was to have the community just pick them for me because I don't have a solution. I'm sorry.
Dang it. I was hoping he would have a solution.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm working on housework and stuff like that, I will just start walking, and then the first thing that I see that kind of looks amiss, I will fix it.
I don't commonly employ this, but there's two things. One of them is a like calculation that you can kind of do that you have to add some weights to it, which is like what is the timeliness of this thing? How do I rank the importance of this to myself? What is the
it's like
time
importance,
investment, those
urgency, whatever.
I use it for work, but you can also use it for personal stuff. And another way to do it is the first time I ever heard of a pros and cons list, I immediately hated it, and I was like 8. Because even then I was like, this has flaws, because a lot of people are going to look at this and equate these, and they don't have the same weight. And you might have
It has 10 pros and 1 con, and the con is you die.
There's too many pros, I've got to do it. That's just so dumb.
Yes, I'm dead now.
Yeah, oh my God. So it's always bothered me. So something that I prefer to do, I rarely do this, but Something that I do prefer to do is you do one of those like four cell grid systems with like
urgent versus not urgent, important versus not important. And then you just do whatever's urgent and important.
And timeliness and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But no. You do the four cell grid system, and then then you do the pros and cons. Like, you know how sometimes you'll see those like political leaning ones?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And you put different groups on there so you can understand. Because sometimes I'm like, I don't know where this newspaper lands or whatever.
Sure.
And then I want to know. And you see those grids. I do one of those.
Then you do another one for whoever assigned that newspaper a spot on the grid, and then you do another one for whoever assigned them a thing.
It's like impossible.
Good luck.
But you could use that to show a visual level of importance. If you're like having a hard time putting number values to things, you can effectively do that on a visual grid by having importance be low and then something else be left to right, and then visually see how things kind of come out. But I don't know. I don't suffer from this as much unless it's purchasing decisions, and then I suffer from it brutally.
This is amazing. VNG Supernova and Floatplane chat just flagged this for me. The backloggery. You have the games, play them. See every game you own in one place. Custom entries support every game, retro to modern, famous to obscure. Customize the look of your profile, track your progress, and beat your backlog. So you just enter a list of, according to VNG Supernova, you can use it to pick a random game from your backlog based on criteria you set.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
I've never heard of this before.
That seems cool.
Oh, yeah. I could see how this would be great for streaming. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I was into Twitch or something, I might have seen it before, but I never have. That's pretty cool.
Seems smart.
You have said in the past you don't like it when people talk to you about your YouTube career when at personal gatherings. But do you like it when people discuss tech with you in the wild? Thanks for everything.
I think it depends. I mean, at a gathering, it's less that I don't like talking about my career. Like I'll talk about work the same way anyone will, and I'll ask people questions about their work. What I don't like is people fawning over it. I would just like to be there. I would just like to be there as
just have a conversation.
Another parent of one of the children at this party. And it makes me really uncomfortable when I feel like I am not just with other parents, you know, like I'm not in YouTuber mode. I'm not at LTX. I'm not signing things. Like it's like I would just like to be able to turn that part of my brain off and just have a conversation with another person. Just you know, just be normal, right?
So that was going to effectively be my answer for the second part as well. When having conversations about random tech stuff.
Yeah.
Just talk to me like you would anyone else and we'll have a good conversation.
Yeah.
But when suddenly like you're effectively trying to like watch WAN Show and you're the only commenter, it's like, yeah, this is not great. Like I'm down to have a conversation with you. That's totally cool. But I don't want to like present, you know? I don't know. It's fairly subtle, but it's important in my opinion.
The other thing is just read the room, right? Like I've it's not like I haven't seen some of the recent criticism that's come out around me. I've seen some people say that I was, you know, very aloof or dismissive at an event or something like that. And the only real feedback I have for that is, was I working? Were you interrupting? Was I literally in the middle of a take or something like that? Because yeah, I will tell people, I'm sorry, I can't talk right now when I am sitting in a booth writing a script. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I can't have a 10-minute conversation with you right now because at pretty much every point in my career, I have been either fighting for survival or fighting to grow the company and support the team or whatever else it is. And when you're trying to, you know, go into particularly an event, because that's some of the feedback that I saw. If you want to have any hope of extracting the kind of value that you need for the cost that is associated with attending these things, you're going pretty hard. And there's so much stuff there in some cases that you've got it's intense to try to cover it all. And then honestly, the worst problem is when there's nothing. And you're trying to
extract something
out of nothing. Yeah. And I feel like over the years, I've had a lot of encounters with people where they are sort of oblivious to that and don't realize that I am not there to socialize. And, you know, maybe part of it is just that, yeah, I'm I tend to be a very work-focused person. I don't have much of a social life. I don't necessarily always pick up on obvious social cues. You guys may be able to relate. And
Pretty common. In
no,
this
I
space.
don't. I don't have time to have a long conversation when I'm working, especially when I'm somewhere where what you might not understand is that 3 steps ago, somebody else interrupted me. And 5 steps before that, somebody interrupted me. And 3 steps before that, somebody interrupted me. And, you know, I'm trying to be nice, but I also have a job to do, because if I don't do it, then I'm just going to walk out of here having done absolutely nothing. And so it's, it's tough. I don't really know what to say about that other than, sorry. You know, maybe catch me at like a party next time. Although that'll be tough. I used to try to make appearances, but then I really don't like them.
I go to a maximum of 1 per show these days. And even then,
Yeah.
that's rare, and I will usually leave early. I don't like them.
You know what's really the most frustrating part of them is for me? It's that the music's too loud.
Okay. The reason why I leave early is because I will usually try to collect some people that I want to talk to and then ask everyone if we can all leave so we can actually have a conversation.
Yeah.
Because if I'm there for an hour or more, I will lose my voice 100% trying to yell over the stupid music. And the best venues, the only ones that I've stayed at are when, if there's music, it's really quiet and it's just like a hangout space.
Yeah.
Those are awesome.
Almost never happens.
But it's always like a bar or a club or something, and they have music slamming, and it's so annoying.
Which I don't understand, because particularly in the tech industry, the first thing everybody says the second they walk up to you is like, man, the music is way too loud. I can't hear you. And then you complain and you say, hey, turn it down. And then they do for like, they turn it down like a fraction of a thing. And then you can tell they like turn it back up after a couple minutes. It's like, can you stop? Can you just actually not do that? This is a professional function, and I'm trying to talk to people.
And we're all trying to not get sick. Meanwhile, I'm like leaning into people like this while they're trying to talk so I can hear them.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same thing for me. And it's like, man, this is just, it's so dumb. I hate that stuff so much.
Yeah, Night Pause in Floatplane chat says, yeah, I don't know anyone that likes it. It's bizarre to me. We had a pool party at my place a little while ago, and I was playing around with the levels on everything. And basically what I aimed for was, I can tell there's music on.
Yeah.
The idea was that if there's an awkward pause, there's music. And if people are talking, you don't really notice it anymore.
Yeah. That sounds perfect.
I was like, yes, go Linus.
And I never had an issue talking to anyone. So that was great.
So frustrating.
Yeah.
What was even the merch message that started this? Should we stay on topic?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Up next,
Cool.
DLL. Back in the olden days, goods and services were paid for with the trading of goats. How many goats would you say you are each worth, and why? Thank you for feeding my pin obsession.
Wow, we're getting into the worth of a person now.
How many goats am I worth? I mean, I would...
How many goats per hour?
I was about to say I think any human is worth almost a limitless number of goats. But then if you were to tell me, look, I'm going to slaughter 10 million goats for this one person, I'd be like, wow, that does really seem like a lot of goats. You know what? I'm going to fall back on one of my classics. I define the value of pretty much anything in terms of human life. So we can actually do the math on this, because to raise a goat, to care for it and feed it and give it water, does cost some human life. So I would say that the worth of a one person is how much reasonable remaining life expectancy they have, divided by
The amount of
the number of hours of care required to raise the number of goats. Or whatever, you guys get what I'm saying, right? So the equivalent amount of goat raising time for someone else, right? Like to me, the problem with stealing from someone is that you are stealing their money, which equals time, which equals their life. You're stealing someone's life by taking something that they worked and they earned. And so, in the same way, by slaughtering a goat, you are slaughtering the effort of that person who raised it. And that's what I'm going with.
I'm stealing a comment from Floatplane chat and reworking it a little bit, but I'm going to say you're worth 1 goat.
1 goat because
you're the goat.
That's stupid. I knew you were going there, but it's one of those things that I can't even beat you to the punchline because I don't want to be the one to say that.
I knew that too. He looked at me in a certain way and then looked down because he knew what I was going to say, but he was stuck because if he guesses that and then it's something else.
Oh, you guys are awesome. On your own. Goodbye. Okay.
That was great.
Next
Sorry. That was, I'm sure that was much more fun for me than anyone else.
Where's the bell?
I really enjoyed that.
Awful, man.
Oh, man. Okay.
What's the process like for designing and choosing new pins to put out?
Oh, man.
Usually it's me, Sarah, and Nick kind of brainstorming stuff we think is cool, stuff we think is memeable, stuff we think is pretty. I'm going to spoil it. We have a really cool series coming out called Dead Pixel.
Oh.
It's just a monitor. It just has a dead pixel on it.
Oh my god.
It's going to be like a whole collection.
Wow.
Don't worry about it. So it's like the I bought this product just to bother you collection.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for people that doesn't bother, if they have friends that bothers, that's going to be such a way to troll.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Wow. I like that a lot.
We have one that's just a dead pixel, so you can just put it on stuff.
Wow.
Hey, LLD.
Sorry. I'm being called a psycho. You know what? I don't think it was actually my idea. I think it might have been Sarah's idea.
We all knew this. Hey, LLD. Any updates on the Noctua Edition screwdriver? Also, any future plans to bundle the normal and stubby screwdrivers? I got a lot of merch messages about this, so I thought I'd curate one of them.
A bundle? Didn't even occur to me, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, I could see us doing something like that in the future, but maybe not for a while. The thing with pricing is there's lots of different ways to do it. You can do it by what the market will bear. You can do it by cost plus percentage. You can do it by, I guess those are kind of the biggest ways. But for, a lot of companies, one of the factors that they will consider is not f***ing with your customers. So anyone who bought the stubby and the regular one at full price is going to expect that the next day after the launch, there isn't a promo where they could have gotten a better deal on it. So it'll be a little while. Stubby's selling really well at the price that it's at. And, we need to make sure that we're keeping up with production and everything. But I could see something like that happening at some point in the future. That's a cool idea. I'm not given a timeline for this at all, though. As for the Noctua Edition, I don't know, sometime late this year, early next, I think. I think Retro Driver is going to be the first sort of regular priced new colorway that comes. Or actually, I don't know what the pricing is going to be yet. I don't know what volumes we're producing. So that's a big impact on pricing. No, that's not the one. No, that's not the one. Hold on, there's one in here that is definitely the... Seriously? How many screwdrivers do I have in my backpack right now? Nope. Dang it. This one. There it is. The Retro Driver is coming very soon. I'm just going to switch to the Linus cam. Hopefully sometime in the next... You know what? I'm not going to promise anything. I don't want to get it wrong. But yeah, I freaking love this one. As a kid who played retro games...
Yeah. It's a
no,
SNES.
Stop! No, it's not.
Sorry, there's one on the wall behind him.
There is one over there that he was talking about.
Yep.
What in the world could that be? Yeah, so this is a cool screwdriver. It's the retro screwdriver.
Yeah. Sorry, it was just in front of the... Yeah, anyways.
Yeah.
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 Someone in Floatplane chat said, get D-Brand to make a dead pixel screen protector. You could put on other people's phones.
Oh, you're a bad man.
Now that it's been said, it's an inevitability.
Oh, man.
Okay, up next, let's see. Hey, LLD, how have the first few weeks under the slower video output workflow been? P.S. Can't wait to get my hands on the Stubby.
I'll take this one since Luke doesn't really work on that many videos. It's been a bit of a mixed bag. I think there's been some really sort of funny stuff, like times when I'm the one saying, hey, this needs to be pushed, or hey, this needs to be canceled, and other people are just in old habits, which is like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's been, in some cases, frustrating because, on the one hand, yeah, we spent a week sort of working on a lot of our communication, and I think we learned a lot. But on the other hand, we're still finding a lot of challenges. We're still finding a lot of problems. Like there's videos that, even though we are taking more time, we are still running into, it's a lot of moving pieces. Like this is something I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand, is every video has at least 5 people involved in it, and it's not always the same 5 people. And so what works really well with one team might not work as well when 1 or 2 of those team members are swapped out, and it's kind of constant, right? And so we're still finding a lot of challenges that are nothing to do with time and just everything to do with process and communication. We're going to keep working on it, and I'm actually really happy with the videos that we have released post-break. One thing that's new, effective, let me just have a look here. I just want to see which video it started with. Effective Radeon 7700, 7800 XT video. I will be doing a brutal QC pass on every single LTT, which I don't know, maybe I should have been doing all along. I haven't had time, so that's something that I'm going to have to figure out, and hopefully it will be something that I can do in the long term with the time that I would have been doing like executive management things that I don't really want to do anymore, and I think Taryn and the rest of the exec team should be doing, and so we can get back to our daily upload cadence. I think that is still a goal we'd like to achieve in the long term. So hopefully it's something that I can continue to do, or that I don't need to do at some point if we get people kind of trained up. But one of the videos that is
in the short term
probably coming up on Sunday, but if the ECC squad finds any severe problems with it, will be pushed to next week. I went through and I did an absolutely savage pass of, and it went from 24 minutes to 20 minutes. And so I think that's something you guys can look forward to as I go through and just brutally axe things from videos, is that you're going to see a lot less B material in the videos, and B, maybe a lot more like Floatplane exclusives and stuff. A lot more cutting room floor that's like kind of fine and would have been, a material that ended up in a YouTube video before, but now is just cut.
Yeah.
Gets the cut.
Good evening, LLD. Those are my wife's initials. Linus, what's your darn tough sock poison? Cushioned or uncushioned?
Oh,
ultra
cushioned.
light, mid, heavy? And what height?
Well, I'm wearing them now, so that'll be easy. This one. Hold on. Height. That one.
That's a surprisingly effective way to communicate that.
I wear these socks. Love it. Hello, LL and D. Love the show. Love the merch. Linus, what happened with the stray cat you found in your yard?
You mean the stray cats that live with me now?
I curated this one for you.
Oh, yeah. Their names are Brownie and Noodle. So named because they are brown and a noodle. So Noodle he does this thing where, how cats like curl up their legs under them? Well, Noodle does that, but he also does a thing where he just splays out every single leg, particularly when he's feeling shy. So he did that a lot when we first adopted him. Yeah, they're doing great. They are not as socialized as a cat that, as a very, very small kitten, had a ton of human interaction, but they get better all the time. And they are at the point now where, particularly at certain times of day, you know how cats are, they genuinely like and seek out human interaction. So we're really glad we adopted them. They are cats, so they tear up the carpet and just do cat things because f you, right? Because they're cats. But we're happy, and Dash ultimately has gotten to a point where she'll tolerate them. She's not as happy as she was when she was an only cat, but she's not nearly as stressed as she was when she lived with her brother, actually. So they've reached peace, at least. She was super unimpressed at the start, but she was not into it. But now she would never like groom them or anything, but she doesn't hiss at them all the time either. So yeah, we're good.
Hey, DLL, what would it take for all three of you to shave your beards? Or just one of you?
Has to be a lot.
I bet I could get you to do it. What if I you know what? Yeah, I could probably get you to do it. I'd like play on your feelings or something. I would be like, yeah, I'm going to shave mine and donate to something. And if you do yours too, then I'll double it or something like that.
I thought you were talking just me. I think just me would be pretty hard. I think me joining the group would not be that hard.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. If I did it with you and it was for a good cause, like Luke's in, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah.
I was actually really close to doing it a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
As just like
I actually thought it was happening.
No, yeah, it's I don't know. I think it would have. I thought about it as like kind of like a new leaf thing.
Yeah.
Like new era. We're changing a lot of things up. So I'm just gonna like shave the beard. But then I thought about it some more, and I was like, that doesn't actually mean anything. And so to me, it feels kind of cheap, even if other people thought it was, symbolic and cool. So I decided I just thought it was kind of a cheap stunt. So forget it.
Yeah. I don't know.
If the wife tells me to shave it, it's gone. And if she tells me to keep it, it's here to stay. For me, it's that simple.
That's kind of where I've been. And Emma likes the beard.
Yep.
So. Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would not want to upkeep non-beard.
Yeah, not shaving every day is like kind of great.
It's nice.
I trim it like once a week, and sometimes I forget, and I do it in 2 weeks, and it's like, okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, it just covers the like bare patches better. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. It's kind of whatever, right? I don't know.
I think I've been watching you all for a decade, and I've seen myself going from a PC building noob to wizard who advises friends on building. When did you guys realize you had that expertise?
I think expertise is a strong word to describe building computers. I don't know. I've ended up in, I wouldn't say heated conversations, but certainly disagreements over this in the past. I remember talking to someone from a boutique system integrator who referred to the people who, like the team that designed their systems as engineers. And I was like, you guys assemble computers. Like to be clear, like I'm not dissing anyone who does actual engineering. Like they weren't designing their own cases. They were just picking off the shelf parts and building computers. And they were not happy that I told them I didn't agree with that. And that was kind of where we left it, I guess, because I wasn't really going to back down on that. That's not engineering.
Yeah, I don't think it was a major moment for you. It was just something that I happened to be passionate about. Like a lot of my friends were into technology. I just happened to be more focused on the PC side of things. So I would be happy to help.
It was a way to do odd jobs and make money to support my gaming habit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's something. I hate waste. I hate seeing people waste money.
Yeah.
And so I would I wanted to learn about it and advise.
I wanted to play cool games with my friends, and sometimes if it was PC games, that kind of required them to have a cool PC. So I just tried to make sure they did too. I don't know. Whatever.
Hey, DLL, now that both of the screwdrivers and backpack are released, with the cable management coming soon, what's next? Any teasers? Can't wait for the cat bed.
Yeah, we have a precision driver coming. We have Have we talked about the fail pen
Only a little.
on the WAN show?
Yes, a couple times.
Oh, all right. Well, we have the fail pen coming. It's really cool.
I haven't seen it ever.
Oh, it started out like, yep, that's made out of a screwdriver shaft. And now the fail pen is like, wow, that's a really nice pen. I can't believe this is made out of a screwdriver shaft. The team is doing a really, really good job of pushing that product along. I'm pretty excited for it.
Did they tell you about the chess problem that they ran into with it?
The chess problem.
Yeah, engineering chess problem.
Like kings, queens, bishops, chess?
Yeah, but like
This
puzzle.
drove me nuts. I never knew this was called a chess problem.
Okay, hit me.
And I overheard Dan talking about it, and I was like,
It's all and any of us can think about it. So it has that J on the back side of it, right? Where you kind of flick the locking mechanism. Machining that in the real
bolt action.
Yeah, bolt action. Machining that in the real world, absolutely trivial. Modeling that in SolidWorks has stumped your entire engineering team, myself, a friend of mine who's a manufacturing engineer, and now his friends. And so this little tiny problem of how to properly 3D model a J is going around our engineering circles.
Can we just paint it with matte paint and then scan it?
No. So making it super easy, programming it to be visually exact how it comes across in the real world is like...
No, but that's what I'm asking. I'm asking, can we just manufacture it and then scan it?
No.
Why not?
Because we know how to do it. That's why it's a chess problem. It's like a theoretical problem.
why does that make sense? Why does that make sense?
So chess
Why
problems...
is it called chess?
So chess problems are like, here is a board state, win in 2 moves. You have to like complete.
So what you're saying is that it's unnecessary to solve it because we can manufacture it already?
Yeah, you can do it, but it's like
So why are we spending cycles on this? Hold on a second.
No. I mean, it's now wasting lots of people's free time because we want to know, because it shouldn't be this difficult, and it's this difficult, right?
Okay, but it's their free time.
Oh yeah, 100% free time.
Oh, okay. Well then, sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So making
I
that...
just don't understand why it's called the chess problem.
Yeah, you and I have very different concerns about this.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's a pen. Yay! It's a good pen.
Yeah, and it's made of what otherwise would have been wasted, crappy, failed screwdriver shafts.
Which is great. Woo! Yeah.
Okay, next. Hey, LLD. I work with CFD at NASA. A recurring problem is old sims that are lost because of software changes. What is your most frustrating example of losing work from loss of backwards compatibility?
Computer fluid dynamics, by the way. I don't know. I think I find the most interesting example of this is when you go through certain like manufacturing shops or different places like that, and they'll have some computer,
like Windows 95.
Yeah, and it's still chugging along, and it's like, what would you do if this broke? And they're just like, don't even want to think about it.
Not make money.
Yep. It's like, wow, okay.
Most of what I do is like text-based. Like I think if you really boil it down, I'm a writer or like a writing editor, right? So we've done a pretty good job, I think, as a computer industry, as humans, of making text file formats pretty darn forward and backward compatible. So I have not really experienced a ton of lost work due to backwards compatibility. I have experienced lost save games due to, games I can no longer play because they're not compatible with the current operating system. So if I ever wanted to go back and play them, that's definitely something that I've experienced, but I think that's like kind of the closest thing that I would have to that. Oh yeah, DDoc, a good Floatplane comment.
Wow.
Microsoft's getting rid of WordPad. Did you know that?
No, that's...
Yeah. WordPad is going away, and I think the next major Windows update, like we're not even getting like a 5-year warning or anything like that. WordPad is such a lifesaver when you just need to open a document on a brand new computer. It otherwise serves absolutely no purpose for me because I pay for Office 365 and I pay for Google Docs. Go me, I spend way too much on word processing software, but it means that I don't need it. But man, the people who do need it and the times that they do need it, boy, is it ever handy. That sucks.
You just like borked out my computer.
Oh,
It
sorry.
did not like bouncing. It's okay. It's solved now. I'm surprised how much it didn't like that.
Yeah, like Notepad++. What if you don't have an internet connection? You can't download it.
WordPad is
I don't know,
the
man.
infrequently used, but when used, oh man, I'm happy this happened to be on my computer.
Yeah, because the alternative is Notepad,
Yeah.
not Notepad++, because for whatever reason you don't have Notepad++ yet.
Yeah.
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 Wait, you guys pay for Google Docs? Yes.
And Teams.
And Teams.
And Slack.
We know. What? Oh, for the dev team. We don't pay for Slack for everybody.
That's true.
But for the dev team, we do pay for all three, don't we?
Well, the local ones, yeah.
Good gravy.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I recently dropped the LTT screwdriver 130 feet off a small tower. It survived, short of losing all the bits on the way down. Do you have any extra crazy stress testing on your products?
Okay. Do you know about the keycap? The keycap statue.
Keycap.
I totally
statue.
forgot about the keycap. Oh my gosh.
No.
So, the problem with the keycap statue, which
Why is it a
is
statue.
a solid aluminum keycap that is like this big, is not producing the keycap or polishing the keycap or it being beautiful and something people everywhere will need to own. The problem is shipping the keycap because it weighs so much, even though it's made of aluminum, and is so small that you need to have a box that's like 3 times its size. We also have we have yielded on our only paper packaging policy for the keycap and the keycap alone, because from my point of view, if we lose a bunch of these keycaps to damage and shipping,
It's going to be worse.
we're actually not really doing ourselves any favors here by using paper, packing material. But getting the packaging right for that has been a real challenge, and it's mostly just communication with like packaging manufacturers. Like, no, okay, let's try this one more time. I need like a solid inch of foam at every quarter or at every corner. Nothing else is acceptable. They're like, well, what if it was a solid inch on this side and then like a quarter of an inch on that? No! Okay, no, it needs to be this much because this thing weighs a flippin' ton. So one of the things that we'll be doing is like hucking it off the roof of the building to make sure that when that stupid final packaging arrives, this thing is going to arrive with people in one piece. But yeah, I'm really excited. Don't worry, for everyone who's like, oh my goodness, how much is that going to cost? I could never afford it. The answer is a lot, and I know. We're going to make a smaller one. We'll have like a little cute, like pocketable sized one, and then a medium one, and then like a ridiculous
So
one.
you're going to have a keycap?
No. Well, people can already buy those.
Only keycaps you can't use.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, well, no. They're completely unusable. They're solid.
Oh,
Like the
okay.
entire thing is one giant hunk of polished aluminum.
Wow.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, like the first thing that Nicholas Plouffe said, keyboard enthusiast, like the kind of person who buys a wall mount to put his keyboards on. He's like, well, I'll need one.
That's great. Okay, up next. Was there a point that videos weren't scripted? If so, when did it feel like it was necessary to write every video?
It's been really gradual / never happened. Videos weren't scripted at all until, the first build guide was not scripted. So if you go back and watch that, be impressed because I did that all from memory. That was really hard. I'm not that good anymore. It's a practiced skill. Like I can't ad-lib as well as I used to be able to.
Yeah.
Like I watched that and I'm like,
It was.
dang.
It's kind of similar though. If you watch some of the early scripted videos, I bet you those kind of suck because you/we are not used to being on teleprompter yet.
Yep. Whereas
Right.
now I'm pretty good at it. Even you're pretty good at it in spite of the dyslexia. Like
Yeah.
it's,
Well, do you know my whole trick? I've talked to you about this before, right? How I read prompters.
I think you have, but I think I forget.
It's like, it's very significantly memory. This is why I'll get like, it even happened when we were filming the GPU video. I think I said like 4 words in a row that were wrong. And you were like, what? And it's like, yeah, because I didn't read them. I like thought that's what was there. So I'll see like 1 or 2 words and then remember what's coming next. And then just say it. And while I'm saying it, I'm trying to refocus on the next one. And then I just like kind of crawl through the script from memory. That's why like when GameLinked gets me to host, I ask them to send me the script ahead of time. I read through the whole script at my desk and then go and host it.
I could never possibly hope to do that.
It took me a long time.
You could tell me 3 numbers and then like play a sound and then ask me to repeat those 3 numbers. I wouldn't be able to tell you what they are. Like I have absolutely no short-term recall like that.
I don't know if you remember this, but back in the house, I resisted the teleprompter change.
Yeah, I know.
Because I just like couldn't do it. And then the early version of this style was I just didn't, I would move the script to the fixed part.
Yeah.
Sit there and make, Brandon at the time probably, wait, read the whole thing just in my head, and then present.
Right.
And then I would just do that over and over again. And then eventually I just got a little bit better and a little bit better. And then I started being able to do that and then move it to the next one and then read, but say something else.
Yep.
So I'd be like absorbing the information for the next section and then I kind of got from there and there and there and just slowly got a little bit better over time.
See, I do kind of that, but in much smaller chunks.
Yeah.
So I'll read ahead like at most a sentence. But I can't do paragraphs. There's absolutely no way.
Yeah.
Back to your question, like we never fully transitioned, right? Like if we do a live stream, WAN show, a build, whatever, that's not scripted. I actually, the video that I'm in the middle of shooting right now that is on the PC Build corner at the moment and is maybe, I don't know, about 25% shot. All I really have is like, for each, we're doing a build, we're doing compensator. Compensator's coming back. Compensator 4. Let's go. And all I have for, a script is just the price of each item, a couple key specs, just, to make sure that in case I've forgotten if it's 16 P cores and 80 cores or 8 P cores and 16 P cores, like there's a lot of stuff out there and not all of this is hardware that I do know. Like obviously I know what a 13900 KS is or whatever. But this capture card, we'll have a couple speeds and feeds that matter for it. And then a little bit of the rationale for why we chose it for compensator. That's all I've got. And it's all point form. So I'll just read through it and then I'll go host the section. So we do still do stuff that is unscripted.
Yeah.
Or like one of the videos that's coming out this weekend is me and Alex basically like cable managing a wall. It ends up being a lot more interesting than it sounds. I promise you. It's like way more interesting than it sounds. But it's completely unscripted. We have kind of some main story beats that we expect to hit. Like we're going to talk about Wi-Fi audio versus Bluetooth audio. And we're going to talk about, the costs associated and how you could do this on a tight budget. We're gonna, like we know approximately what we're going to talk about, but none of it's written out. So it depends. Apparently there's a special font for dyslexics.
I was going to say, there's a couple of people that mentioned this, and I actually did want to talk about that. Someone mentioned Comic Sans. I've heard that before. I don't find it makes any difference at all.
I think they're
personally.
memeing.
Yeah, I don't know. What I have seen, and I might say this wrong, but it blew my mind. I think I even told you about it, was if I remember correctly, it's multicolored text and like the root word is colored in one color and then the rest of the word is colored in another color. I think that's how it goes. I don't think anyone linked it. But the second I read it, it felt like I was on like nitrous or something. Like just like I was reading 2 or 3 times faster than I normally do. And I wasn't losing my spot. That's my biggest problem is I lose my spot all the time.
Right.
I have a really hard, I don't know.
If there's a superpower that I have,
you can read
it's that
wicked fast.
It's that I can skim wicked fast.
Okay, yeah.
I can't read wicked fast. I
can skim sort of okay.
So my superpower would be that if you hand me a book and let me read for as long as you want, and then rip it out of my hands, close it, and give it back to me, I will be like immediately back to where I left off.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. It's not usually a useful skill, but it is something that I can do crazy fast. And yet, I was talking earlier about how I have basically no recall for exact numbers or exact letters or words. But in terms of like cues, like familiarity, I have no problem with it. So I'll just open a page. I'll be like, no, I haven't seen this. I've seen this. Boom. I'm at the spot on the page. And like when people would get mad at me for, you know, like I had four siblings, you know, so someone would get mad at me for losing their spot in the book. I'm like, oh, whatever, just who cares about a bookmark? Just
open it.
Yeah, just open it and get to the spot you were at. But why does this matter? And like a lot of people are I didn't even realize that other people don't skim like that. I want to be able to do that with games. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Just find your spot in a game.
Apparently, there's tons of examples of this. There's tons of different fonts. There's tons of different attempts people have made.
That's super cool.
We
just need to find a prompter app that would support it.
I'm having a hard time
functional.
finding the one that really worked for me, and a lot of the ones that people have linked are not it, and they don't feel like they're working right now, at least for me. So I don't know. One of the reasons I thought it was super interesting, but one of the reasons why I didn't try to be like, let's find ways to like force my computer to load all text like this, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, is because, and this could be flawed logic, but the way I'm thinking about it is I'm going to leave my computer at some point. And I find like my ability to read is almost like a forced skill that I have to maintain. So if I use this, I don't know if people are not going to like this or not, but if I use this crutch of this special font on my computer, I'm not going to have that all the time. And I feel like when I'm away from that system, I'm probably going to be worse off because of it. If that makes sense. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but that's one of the reasons why. It's kind of like the same reason I was always interested in learning Dvorak as like a typing layout. But I'm like, okay, but anytime I go to anyone else's computer,
use a laptop.
It's not going to be Dvorak. So like, I don't want to train to learn that. I don't know. So it's super interesting. I find it very interesting that it worked so well.
You're just the kind of person who plays on hard mode. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
like
know.
That's, you know, and you know what's funny is I was talking to, I forget it, optician or what's optometrist, whatever. I was talking to an eye doctor of some sort. And apparently if you force yourself to see clearly, like more clearly, like you can achieve slightly better clarity by like kind of like really trying really hard. You can actually build up your eye muscles to the point where they will deform your eye and they will make you less likely to need glasses as soon.
Whoa.
Whereas
I was always communicated it was the opposite. That's crazy.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he's wrong.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
And in extreme
non-medical advice, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
in extreme cases, maybe it would go the other way. But like I asked, I was like, because I have a very mild prescription. I have a lot of subscriptions. That's the age we live in. I have a very they're not mild. I have a very mild prescription, and I asked. I was like, yeah, my eyes feel less tired when I use them, but tell me this. By not trying as hard all the time, am I potentially going to, you know, need my glasses more? And he's like, in some cases, like trying really hard can actually make a difference. And I was like, oh, interesting. So in the same way, like trying really hard to get your brain to like, dang it, try to do it.
That's what I feel about the prompter stuff is right. Like, I was off video for like years, and now I do it infrequently, but do it sometimes. By video, I mean VODs, not WAN Show. I was obviously still doing WAN Show. But I was off VODs for a long time, and my first few videos back were really hard because I hadn't done prompters in a really long time. Yep. And now I'm kind of...
Oh yeah, you were great when we did the thing to
bit of
yesterday.
a learn. So yeah, I'm a little bit more used to it again. A bit like kind of the whole riding a bike thing where like I definitely didn't lose it entirely, but I was rusty. And now I feel like I'm kind of getting it back. But yeah, that's why I haven't like actually used it too much, but it's super cool that it exists because mine seems pretty mild, all things considered. And I know people that have it a lot worse. So If it's a lot worse and you like need something, I think it's really cool that something does exist that you could use. I think that's awesome.
This is interesting. A lot of people are talking about just interesting eye stuff. Someone said they got corrective lenses that helped alter the shape of their eye, so that they didn't need them anymore.
Like
it's gonna depend what's wrong with your eye, obviously, right? Like someone said, yeah, I can see perfectly, but I was getting headaches. I went to the optometrist and found out I needed glasses because I'm assuming
their eyes were straining so hard.
You were straining so hard that the poor muscles were just in a constant state of strain. Yeah, that's wild. And yes, to be clear, I'm not talking about squinting. Anyway, Dan, hit me.
Yeah, sure. I got an interim message. It's about the chess problems, going back to the pen. They're called chess problems because players come up with challenging theoretical puzzles that don't really matter.
Ah, okay.
That's kind of why I was saying it was on the free time, and they were not spending time on this.
I still disagree, because that chess problem could come up in a real game, but the need to model this thing will never be a need to model it. It is only for fun.
I think these chess problems, like the theoretical board state, would not get there.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it would be a really, really, like, you would never play chess and get into this board state, but it is possible, right?
Right. You have one pawn and your queen and your king
and
left.
they're all in the wrong places.
I understand.
Like, we just model the J, and then you make the machine do it, and you're done. You don't spend hours upon hours.
I gotta jump back for a second. This, I've never seen this before. This is not the one I was talking about. But someone linked this in Floatplane chat. I read this before I recognized that I was even like trying. My brain registered all of the words in this, and then I was like, wait, I didn't go back to the first word to read it, and then I was like, hold on, I already read all of this. Like, it literally confusingly fast. I've never even seen this font before.
Can we
just
get that
like
for the
immediately
prompter?
Absorbed. No, probably not. And like I don't even think, I think my method's
Well, that's just
fine.
a Gmail logo.
It's pretty much.
No,
Actually,
the bottom left really does look like it.
No, they're too recognizable as different shapes.
But yeah, so like I don't know. I can't explain it. A bunch of the ones that were linked today didn't work for me at all, and then this one was like, whoa, yeah, definitely worked right away. I have no idea. It's weird. Even if I like found something like that and found a way to implement it across all the things that I read on my own devices, I probably wouldn't do it because I want to keep the learned skill up so that I can do it when that font isn't existing. All that kind of stuff I said before is still the same. But yeah, I don't know. For some reason that worked for me, made it easier. Not a clue why.
Okay. If LMG grew to corporate size, operating as a mid to large enterprise, could or should the WAN show continue? Would adding a disclaimer to the show avoid any potential issues? I really appreciate you guys.
So we are a...
Well, we're not mid-sized.
Really?
Not by the Canadian definition. I think it's 200 plus or something like that.
I thought it was 100 plus.
Yeah, or it might even be like 500 plus or something. We're still technically a small business. I'm going to say now I don't ever want to get big enough that the WAN show can't continue. The WAN show is something I find genuinely enjoyable. It's something that I find helps keep us grounded. I think that being so disconnected from the community that I am not allowed or feel like I can't talk to them anymore would be really isolating for me. And I think by the time I got to that point, I probably just wouldn't want to do it anymore, is sort of where I'm at on that.
I think we're a mid-sized company.
Depends on the definition. Not everyone defines it the same way.
Yeah. Well...
This is like defining generations of people. It is A, meaningless, and B, nobody agrees. So
I do agree that it's meaningless, but I did just find a Stats Canada, Government of Canada website that says that it's 100 to 499 employees is mid-size.
Okay. So we have several small companies.
Fair enough. Got him.
Absolutely annihilated.
Came out of nowhere. I love it.
I genuinely didn't see that coming.
Okay. Last one on my curated list here. Hello, LLD. Catching the show a bit late, but any update on Floatplane merch?
No, I don't think so.
Oh no, we have blue base shirts that I think
really?
are we're working on production, or maybe I wasn't happy with the color. But let's see. Here's the problem. Floatplane's branding was never professionally designed, really. So
On a technical level, it was.
yeah. Well, the point
It
is
lacked some.
they don't have a Pantone.
Yeah.
That's a problem when you want to make something that matches something. So we got the shirt and we're like, well, this doesn't match the site. It doesn't match the previous Floatplane shirts we made. It is blue, so I guess that's
I think it's
Floatplane-y.
straight up, in my opinion, if it's a shade of blue, it's probably
Just
fine.
pick like 20 Pantones.
Like a lightish blue is probably
like
okay.
the ocean. It's most of
Whatever.
the blue Pantones.
Even the Floatplane website has multiple shades of blue on it. There's a light blue and a dark
Oh
blue.
my!
I know.
I was
which is-
wondering why I didn't have a Pantone in my docs,
which is a problem.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so I don't know. We're as ready to go as we are ready to go, and I don't really know the answer.
I think
that.
the reason why I'm like, is, I mean, if it isn't a Pantone now, it's not going to be one later. Like, at a certain point, just, oh well.
And Facebook's 2FA is not working right now, and I'll explain why that matters as soon as I can get logged into my account.
Okay.
Okay. Is this right? Don't save this browser. Other people use this computer. So
Wait, is my dad in chat?
is your dad in chat? What's your dad doing in chat?
Someone just added Liquidus, which would be my dad, but I don't see where he said it. Oh, he pasted micro-sized company, micro-sized business, less than 10 employees, small-sized business, 10 to 49. Okay, that's as defined by Wikipedia, if I remember correctly. Government of Canada just has small, medium, and large.
Okay. I have it, so hold on. There was
Also,
a
hi,
merch
Dad.
message. Okay, so Brandon asks, hey, been looking into getting into badminton, but I have no idea what to look for our first racket. Where's somewhere to start? So you are going to want to start. Oh, I wonder what my most recent marketplace searches are. I guess we're going to see. Here we go. Air hockey. I love air hockey.
Yeah.
I was looking for a Vapochill. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping to get my hands on one. I couldn't find one.
What is that fan controller that you and I both had?
M-Cube T-Balancer.
Yeah. He knew like immediately.
See, that's the thing.
Remember when I was trying to talk to you about the old German fan controller? That's it.
My associative memory skills are very good.
Astounding.
If you tee me up, I can knock it out of the park. But if you ask me to just remember something that I don't care about, or that I have no familiarity with, that there's nothing to seed it, I got nothing.
I don't remember why we were talking about it, but I was talking about T-balancers with Dan the other day.
Okay. I still have mine kicking around
Me
somewhere.
too.
Yeah.
What? Jeez. Linus, do you think that's like an ADHD thing? Because I find I'm almost identically exactly the same.
It could be.
Yeah.
Could also just be like being a big dumb idiot.
That is so true.
You're calling him that.
But we're akin.
Yeah. No, it's a sense of surprise.
What?
Hey, you got wrinkles in your brain. You have bad thoughts. No bad thoughts. Only good thoughts.
All right. Okay.
Free PC. So I was thinking that would be kind of a cool video. Like, what PC can you get for free, for literal free? I actually did find some. There was one that was like free computer, but you have to take all 10 of them. And I was like, I was very close to getting up from my desk and like going and getting them all.
Just doing it.
Yeah, just for fun. Computer case. I don't remember why I was searching for that. Oh, look, badminton racket. Because someone asked me this not that long ago.
$1? No, that's got to be fake, right?
That's probably just people put that and then they have pricing in their post for all the individual items.
Got it.
Okay, so here's the thing. Never buy this. This is like plastic wrapped. These have probably a T-joint here, so they're not a one-piece frame. You shouldn't be spending like this kind of money. This is like $60 US. That's a little bit too much to get started. Not by much. I would say something like this is where you want to start. Something that is, this is a 2U. This is pretty heavy, so maybe not quite something like this, but something that's a single piece frame. And so you can check here, as long as it doesn't have any, like a T-joint here,
Seam.
that's
Yeah.
probably fine. As long as it's a carbon graphite body, that's basically been the technology since kind of the late 80s, early 90s, I guess. So finding like an old racket, ideally instead of 2U, you want a higher number, like a 3U racket or something like that. So you get something that's just, see, this is probably fine. And then you should spend another 20, 25 bucks Canadian, so like $15 to $20 US, and you should get it restrung. The strings are going to make a way bigger difference than the actual racket itself. Oh, do we have some more?
I don't have any more curated. I can go straight into the potentials if you want.
Yeah, we can read through them. I mean, there's sure. Okay. At Linus, do you think the boom in more powerful handheld gaming devices will cause AR to gain popularity? No, the Apple push into AR is going to cause AR to gain popularity, like big time. Imagine Pokemon on the Steam Deck 3 played on the go while wearing an AR headset. I don't see that being realistic. I just don't think the market is big enough, especially when what is it, Niantic or whatever their name is? What's the Pokemon Go?
That's about
Niantic?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, especially when they're already so invested in like mobile OS development. I would expect that we will instead see it come, but maybe just a little bit later once the hardware that's already in your pocket is capable of a more AR-like experience. Anonymous asks, you've mentioned your ADHD helps you come up with new ideas because you get bored quickly, but what are some challenges and how do you overcome them? Oh, lots of challenges. I get bored really quickly. And honestly, it's like a superpower, but it's also kryptonite. Like it's I just like don't know what to do with myself a lot of the time. Like, why do you workaholic? I don't know what else to do. I just need to like do stuff. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I'm obviously, for me it's not debilitating, which is really good. I'm really thankful for that, but it can be a challenge sometimes. Yeah. Finally ordered a water bottle, says Jacob W. Such a wonderful upgrade. Is there any product that the staff...
No, a straw for the water bottle.
Oh, a straw for the water bottle. Is there any product that the staff has upgraded with a third-party item? Well, I'm sure people have upgraded basically everything with third-party items. I mean, we are working on a lid upgrade of our own, so that's something I guess I can leak. One of the big things... No, I will not leak it.
I asked
because it's a water bottle lid.
It's pretty good.
Don't want it to leak.
It's pretty good.
But it'll have easily removable O-rings, little pull tabs on them, so you can clean them better.
Cool.
Yeah, that's like the big feature aside from just being a little bit more robust.
I asked for carabiners. Were on my Christmas list, and my brother got me these like awesome like rock climbing quality carabiners. So I added those to the backpack. I don't know if that would count as modding.
Yeah, sure. Upgrading.
But I really liked the carabiner that was on there. I thought it was cool that it came with one on that side bit. But I was like, I want more. And ones that can carry your like heavier stuff. Because those straps that the carabiners on are very strong. You can hang some pretty serious things off there. So it makes the backpack like extensible, which is pretty sick.
Okay, a couple more curated here. Okay, hey WAN.dll, first merch message. I've been a systems administrator for Unix for over 25 years and recently had a heart attack. Any suggestions if I no longer want to manage $1 million plus projects and
I think $1
million plus projects and not be on call 24/7?
If we knew the answer to that, we wouldn't be here.
Please tell us.
Yeah, if you figure it out. You don't even need to send a merch message, okay? Just fire me an email, and I will be grateful to your sage wisdom sharing that you've done with me. Thank you. I'm so sorry.
Hello,
hope for speedy recovery, though. By the way.
Oh,
That's why it's buzzing. My phone.
And
your phone.
Sorry, I was responding to something, so I missed that. But no, not there. But yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. What I was thinking, and I'm sorry if you said this already, but what I was thinking, because IT and systems administration is just kind of like that. But you might be able to work with the organization that you're in and turn into more of like a training and advisory role. You have some very serious experience, so you could be very effective in that way. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Hello, LLND. I had to get a couple screwdrivers to match my company's red dump trucks.
Nice.
What videos do you wish you could get a do-over or revisit with the resources you have now?
I'd love to do whole room water cooling again, but like
Properly.
Banging, like awesome. And I'm like kind of doing it with the pool, but it was super cool having it like plumbed into the office. I'd love to have chilled water at a fixed temperature on tap for the lab, for example, for testing. If we ever tested water blocks or something, not that anyone cares, like they all basically perform within a very narrow band anyway. So people went from caring a lot about water block performance back in like the mid 2000s, maybe even late 2000s mostly mid 2000s to like
Largely aesthetics.
now I don't think does EK even publish performance numbers on their site? I think it's just aesthetic.
I don't know.
And that's to be clear, I'm not saying that's a huge problem. Like it's been a pretty much solved problem since about 2005 to 2008. Maybe into 2010. But it's basically now it's just an optimization exercise for every given platform where you're just playing around with your major variables, which are the restrictiveness of the design, how much impingement you want on the copper plate, the thickness of the plate, and the density of the pin or fin structure. Like, it's about it. When SwiftTech released the Apogee SKF, I think it is, but it's like it has skived copper, which basically means you take copper and you have a blade that is so sharp and so thin that you shave the copper and then fold it up into a fin, and then you shave the copper and fold it up into a fin, and then you create like a micro fin structure like that. That's it. That's the end game. There's no further thinness increase in surface area per unit CPU die area that you can possibly achieve at that point, because it becomes impractical to have the fins go any higher, and it becomes impractical to have them any closer together because you just wouldn't have enough room for water to reach the very base where most of the thermal transfer is actually happening. Like nothing's actually happening once the fins are over a millimeter or a couple millimeters high. So that's why all designs are like kind of the same. And because any modern microprocessor is going to be designed to be air-cooled, any modern water block design, not even a state-of-the-art one, is going to be fine as long as you have adequate radiator capacity. So I don't know. It's just the kind of thing I don't think we would ever get into reviewing because it frankly just doesn't matter anymore.
I am a Salesforce developer with an idea to create a business-to-business platform as a service, but I have no minimal viable product. What advice would you give to somebody starting out with no business management experience? Any pitfalls to avoid?
All of them. Just do your best. Try and do better every day. That's basically all I can tell you, right? It's tough, though. Be ready.
And all that's left is one in incoming, and that's all we got. Oh, there's two now. It's getting out of hand.
I got one. I'm going to add a sorry so it's nicer sounding. Do you think there's a future where Nintendo bows out of the console space and we see Nintendo IPs on Xbox, PlayStation, etc.? I mean, we already saw like a mobile Mario game at some point.
That was very surprising. And then they stopped, as far as my understanding goes. Are they still? They did Mario Run or Jump or whatever it's called. Did they do anything after that? Super Mario Run was 2016. Their most recent one, as far as I can see, in a rough Google search, is 2021 with Pikmin Bloom.
Mario Kart World Tour, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp was apparently a huge success.
Pokemon Sleep in 2023, but they've technically already done stuff because of Pokemon Go. I don't know if I know Nintendo owns a pretty significant amount of the Pokemon company, but they're not the sole owner.
Marvin the Robot says, Der Bauer talked about how that method of fin manufacturing made thermal transfer worse. And it's like I said, it's all trade-offs, right? So you can machine it, but you can only get a bit so small. You can skive it, but sure, it might harm thermal transfer. The point is that without some kind of complete revolution in manufacturing techniques, we're not going to see blocks with materially different performance anymore.
Mario Kart Tour, which I've never personally heard of, is a free, I'm sure there's microtransactions mobile game with a rating of 4.3 stars that has 2.1.5 million votes on Android alone.
There you go. All right. I don't think Nintendo's going to get sick of selling their own hardware anytime soon, though.
Yeah.
I think they're a very traditional company. And it's honestly been to their benefit in a big way. Like, for all you can hate on Nintendo all you want. I sure do. The fact that you can't back up your save games on a mobile device without paying for a monthly subscription is one of the most just brazenly anti-consumer things in gaming today, in my humble opinion. To me, the value of my save game is so much higher than the value of the cartridge that I bought. Like, it's everything depending on the game that you're playing. And but to their credit, they're one of the few companies that has remained committed to just single player or multiplayer contained experiences that you don't have to pay a whack ton of money for after you've already bought them. They're doing that, apparently, but they're also delivering on those self-contained traditional experiences, and I think that's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's super cool that the WAN Show's over. We will see you again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Bye.
Man, you guys love pins.